Hello everyone, it is Jebro and the podcast is live on twitch.tv/JebroUnity. The Lightbringers podcast with some awesome guests that won't talk while I'm talking. Isn't that great? Well, it's not true until it's true, and they can only be heard now. There we go. Which is why I did it like that.
I see. How you doing?
How am I doing? I'm doing very well. Oh wow, what's going on with my Discord? Oh, someone dropped? Kroof, no!
Kroof.
You ruined it! No!
Good time.
Put your camera back on. How dare you? The hype was too much for Kroof.
That was not intentional. My Discord just crashed.
There was too much hype. There was too much hype for the expansion. That's what it was.
My Discord said, oops, I gotta head out of here.
Basically. Hello chat, welcome everyone. Welcome to our friends, Farlex, Kroof and Boots. Let's do a quickie intro. Today we're going to be talking about the expansion for Guild Wars 2, Secrets of the Obscure. We're going to have a quick look at the, what we're going to do first as well is we're going to talk about actually Aurene and the end of that story a little bit before we go into the expansion talk, because there was something that happened. If you have not seen it, or played it, this is a spoiler warning, because there is a chance you haven't, because they didn't tell us about it, really, other than the blog post. Spoiler, woo, exactly. Fornex, that's what you do, where you do it. Flip it. You've done loads of videos. Sell them.
Oh god, yeah. Hey, I'm Fornex. I'm a Great in Hell. I will, I promise.
Great in Hell? Oh my god.
Great in Hell. Great from hell. Definitely, Fisher of Woe. Just came from there. I need to get my nails done. So I'm Fornex, the Great Herald. I make Guild Wars 2 content over on YouTube, and I've just released a massive 30-minute video covering every single feature, every bit of kit that they've shared. Everything that we've got pictures for is in that video, and a little video about the Wizard's Tower that is completely spoiler-free. So if you're wanting to go into the expansion, you just want to know the old lore, you don't want to know anything about the new, this is the video for you. Jump in, find out all the tidbits that were there for the past 18 years of this lore. And that's what I'm up to.
So everyone,
hello.
tidbits, wood and hell, then you're absolutely welcome to go to Fornex's channel.
I love learning about wizards.
Wizards.
I did that like 17 times while I was creating the video. It was a bad night. It was a bad night.
That's right. Kroof, tell us what you do, what you do.
Hi.
We're eventually going to have to all learn how to talk properly.
I think we're having a collective moment. Our tongues and our vocal cords are not cooperating in the way that they should today.
Our tongues.
But that never stops me, because I overcome obstacles and trials and tribulations in my life, and one of those trials and tribulations is finding the time to edit so many of these damn videos, which you can go over and find on my YouTube channel at Kroof, Kroof. It's a ooh, not a cruff. It's a ooh.
Not like the dog show in England, Crufts.
I don't know culture, so I don't know what that is.
What about people who pronounce like roofs rough?
Roof. No, it's
oh,
roof. No.
There's people. No.
Or schedule.
No.
I say schedule.
Or people who pronounce threes as free. Like.
Well, that's me. Yeah, I'm from London, so I'll say free. Free.
Yeah. But yeah, I've been doing a bunch of YouTube videos. Well, 2 so far. That's a bunch for me at this point, but I have more to come. All things talk all about, Guild Wars 2 Secrets of the Obscure, and even some streams when we get closer to the expansion. So thank you so much for having me here.
Okie dokie. Boats! World of Enders. Sorry.
Hi, my name's Boats. World of Enders, and yeah, I do videos over at World of Enders on YouTube, and recently been doing a lot of adventures, and I've got 2 in the bank that I'm gonna release in the next couple of weeks because I'm going away for a few weeks, and so I won't be able to do.
That's good though.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, so, wait! You're not gonna be on the podcast from Japan or anything?
I'm afraid not. Well, hold on a second. Let me think about it. It'll be 4 in the morning. No, I don't think I'm gonna do it.
Wow.
Lack of dedication.
You know what they say? The early boot gets the mud. Okay, someone talk after that, please. Why are you doing this to me?
I'm so glad that Fornex and Boots joined me in that. Like, we all joined each other in that because that was just good. That was just quality. Okay. So first thing we want. Oh no. Also, with the new expansion and everything else, being excited about that. The Lightbringers are going to be here pretty much every week till the expansion, probably. So twitch.tv/JebroUni at about 1 p.m. Pacific today. We actually almost kind of were on time. It's mostly my fault. But please go and check out anchor.fm/Jebro as well if you want to check out the past podcasts. They're also on the YouTube channel as well as the Twitch channel VODs, which you can watch and check out all of these awesome folks. We all also are affiliated /ArenaNet partners, and we'll have links for the game, which cost you nothing extra. I will put those in the description below as well as Rookeries, because those are we're the core people in the podcast, and if you do want to support all of their stuff, it would be massively appreciated if you hit their link before you purchase the game and send a little bit of support their way. Massively appreciated. Also, our friend Rookery is not here today. They were going to be here as well because unfortunately their little old man cat George has passed away, so our love and thoughts are to them and the family and people.
We love you, Rook.
It's a horrible thing to have happened, so please make sure you pop some love in the chat. Please make sure you also say something in reply to them on Twitter, or say something on their YouTube comments, just to send a thought their way. That would be massively appreciated. Okay, I know it's a little bit like and then talk about the hype, but yeah, there's good things coming at the moment to the game that we all love, and I'm really excited, and probably more I don't think I've been this excited about an expansion since Heartthorns, honestly. I think the others have been cool. Like, Camphor was like a cool thing. I wasn't like, yeah, I already want to go there. But for this, I am more excited because wizards are cool.
I was excited about Cantha.
I know.
I was excited about Cantha.
But I am also excited about the Wizard Tower.
It's a Wizard's Tower
Yeah.
there. There's wizards. Wizards are cool. Okay, so first thing we are going to do, actually, is talk about...
I have a question first.
Oh, God.
Oh my God.
What is a wizard?
Well, actually,
Yeah.
Fornax already asked this question, and we're gonna talk about that, but not now.
Okay,
we're gonna talk about it later. Okay, so first of all, before we even get into the idea of the expansion and everything else happened, there was a balance patch that came out. There was also a small amount of story as well regarding Aurene, and Aurene is kind of buggering off for a bit. So if you haven't played that, again, this is another spoiler warning for like the 10th time. But Aurene's basically a bit knackered, and like the other Elder Dragons is, they kind of went away for a long time, mostly, past many generations. So we may not see them again until Guild Wars 3, if that's ever a thing, which could be interesting as a thought. But
yeah,
how did we
Didn't
think
y'all
about
see
this?
my tweet?
I feel like
Aurene will
it was
be back. She'll be back in like a couple expansions because Joko's gonna be in her stomach, just kicking her and being like, "Wake up, please."
She's gonna give birth
So, like,
to Joko?
No, not birth. Joko's just
Oh my
kind of chilling in her
God.
stomach, but
Oh,
she'll be
okay.
back. She's fine.
Okay.
No, but yeah, I
What should we call
also
it? Joke.
leading into this new era post Dragon Cycle. My prediction was that she was gonna go to sleep.
Yeah, it's kind of important, I think, for stories to be told that are less impactful than, world-ending things. That a godlike being who's able to do anything with a snap of their fingers, probably at this point,
Yeah.
isn't at our side during any storyline.
You're right.
Yeah.
I think that's important.
Yeah.
Did we all play the instance? How do we feel about it? And also, Fornax, do you have any thoughts?
I mean, I'm rather glad about it, to be honest. I mean, I wouldn't have minded if she'd have picked Kunavang as her champion so that she could have a some consistency in her existence as an individual entity because of her long life and our mortal span. I feel like that would be a better mental health space for her to be in.
I like it.
But yeah, I mean, the other dragons slept for 10,000 years after they'd fulfilled their function. I'm not sure how that's going to work with her because she is like a continuous conduit rather than.
But and I don't think did Suwan sleep?
I feel like she did.
Back in the day, maybe.
No idea.
Probably. I would imagine she kind of shared the same sleep cycle as the other dragons.
She's having a sleep now, though, isn't she?
Oh,
Damn. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Too soon.
She's
So
gone.
the good news is, if the writers ever write themselves into a corner, then Aurene will be back to save the day at some point.
They were very smart with their written dialogue because they left it to where at the end, Keith, we ask her if we think that Aurene will be gone or come back at some time, and Keith basically answered, no, she's going to go to sleep, but then immediately said, well, she's surprised us in the past, so you never know. It was very much like she's going to sleep, but if we have to bring her back, it's okay.
You're going to wake up every year for Dragon Bash just to proceed the proceedings, make sure that,
Getting up, though, like, can you imagine that for Aurene? That's like getting up to go to the bathroom. Nah.
Yeah.
Every year, once a year.
Okay, can I say something really nerdy? So I have been thinking about what would be...
Can you say something really nerdy on a Guild Wars 2 podcast for video games?
That's a fair point.
Very out of the norm.
This is weird. This is so odd.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. So I've been thinking about... I like to think about it like, what if it was a real place? What if they were real people? What would be the cultural and like consequences of what's happened?
Yeah.
So I think if the devs were really wanted to reflect kind of the history and the actions and the consequences of the Dragon War, then we would see the demise of worship of the human gods. They'd be gone because everyone knows they abandoned them. And then we'd see the rise of a cult of the Crystal Dragon because she is the savior. She's literally saved everybody. So I think we would have like massive temples built in her honor. There would be cults formed. There would be religious orders formed around it. The kind of society would be kind of reordering itself now in the aftermath of all this.
Well, honestly,
I would love to see some of that. So
the human religion should definitely be rewritten at this point, right? Like, why are they still worshiping the gods when they're gone? First of all, and second of all, half of them turned evil. They really gotta just go back to Aurene now. I think they should start worshiping Aurene instead.
I mean, that's the one thing. Well, definitely, but that's the one thing that disappointed me about. I loved the end of Dragon's expansion. I thought it was beautiful. I loved the areas. I thought the stories were rich. I really did like it. But the one thing that I didn't get a satisfying answer to how the Elder Dragons were created, what really was happening with the Dragon Cycle. I know that there's the conversation at the end, but it was a
when you say the Elder Dragons
nothing.
Created, do you mean by Suwan or how Suwan herself was also created?
Well, so yeah, I mean, you've got the deistic problem of, well, when you say there's a god who created that god, so there is that, but there's also, she said, I was only one element, and then she never explained how she was able to create the other element.
Well, clearly because water refracts light and like a crystal, it's like an imperfect crystal, and
are we going to go into End of Dragons discussion now, or are we going forward?
You know what? The one podcast that we never got to because we kept getting sidetracked by many things. We're not talking about Secrets of the Obscure today. We're following in our footsteps by talking about the previous expansions and not talking about anything current.
I think that's important.
We're really good at marketing.
Should we start at the core game then? Let's do that.
Oh, we're already doing that for the story playthrough.
I already regret speaking, so I'm just
no. It's linked. So I think there's
it's a good segue.
Yeah, it's a good segue because that's what we're doing. We're still rounding out the end of it anyway. So that's kind of what you wanted, Fornax, as well. You wanted some explanation. So hopefully we'll get some explanation more around that. Maybe in the future, maybe it's something that okay. Fine.
Maybe, no, I think honestly maybe this this is a wizard's tower, right? This is the wizard's tower that we're going to in the next expansion. The enigmatic, ridiculously powerful wizard who probably has troves of knowledge, then possibly troves of knowledge about the mysteries of Tyria. Maybe we're going to get a little bit.
Actually, I'm going to redeem myself right now because it literally says in some of the promotional blurbs that we will find out what Tyria's place in the cosmos actually
and that is what. So every time we talk about
boom,
Boom.
bitches,
You
yeah.
need to drop the mic
expansion-
emote now. So
I think she's got one.
Which might not be connected to the dragons at all. So
no
Yeah,
way.
yeah,
Yes.
it might not be connected. I mean, yeah. So Tyria might have been created. I think Tyria is connected to Suwon in that Tyria's existence is tied to Suwon at the beginning. But I think maybe somebody else made that happen, or something else made that happen.
Maybe. JT, what else happened?
mists.
Oh yeah, the mists. Well, that's what we're talking about. The mists. The mists are very heavily involved. Okay, so we're gonna pump on. We're gonna. Why do I keep saying that recently? Pump on. I'm not gonna say what else I was gonna say. Talking about the expansion, that's where we're going to next. So it's a kind of a nice little story. I saw some tweets here and there who were like, they kind of did Aurene dirty and this kind of stuff, and I'm like, well, we didn't. It was just like a little blurb at the end to explain that she's kind of going away for a bit. I don't think she was. I think that was just it. I don't think it was bad or anything. It was like some weird tweets and other stuff comments out there, and I'm like, okay, well, you can not like it if you want, but it wasn't that big a deal. Like, I think it's pretty important we explain where she's going and that she's not around, so we can do exactly what Boots said and have like stories which aren't specifically world ending. Although, can we say Tyria
this
is
may
pretty,
still be?
yeah,
Who knows?
yeah, exactly right. Like, but how will we do without, like, Aurene is a pretty big deal.
Actually, I would put this to you as a healthcare professional.
Sure.
I think a lot of people have formed kind of like a parasocial relationship with the character, and they feel like she is their dragon daughter.
Well,
Thinking about
I
Brooke.
mean, yeah, there's one person that comes to mind, yeah.
Yeah, and I know that I saw some tweets of people saying that they felt like it was a cold goodbye, like that it was like her saying goodbye to the commander and not her saying goodbye to basically a person who's been like a surrogate parent for them. And I feel like people would have liked a bit more of a kind of like an emotionally fulfilling maybe moment. I don't know. I mean, I thought it was beautiful.
It would have been better if the commander was able to drop Aurene off at college and kiss her goodbye and
or at least a little cutscene seeing them fly off into the sunset.
That would be nice. Yeah.
Maybe he's the commander is the only one who knows where they are or something like that. Maybe, and just like kind of sitting there chilling, sleeping. That was weird.
Love your dragon, don't love your dragon. Yeah.
Oh my god, you did it, Said.
Thank you.
Yeah, maybe. I guess potentially.
I thought it was good. It was effective, and I feel like it leaves it open-ended enough for them to bring back Aurene at a certain point. Because if it was too emotionally weighty, and then 3 expansions down the line, she comes back, we're like, well, what was the point of that? So
yeah, I agree.
I felt it was a perfect balance of emotional impact while still keeping things light enough to maybe see her at some other time.
I think it does say, though, that it's probable that Aurene doesn't think it's going to be thousands of years. It sounds like Aurene thinks that they will see you again.
Maybe.
Otherwise, I think
it's all hope. Yeah.
I think it would have been a little bit more emotional if there's a chance that we never see Aurene again,
Yeah, I feel like it would have been much more heavy, almost like a permanent death situation, but we could also encounter her in different forms. Who knows if she falls asleep and she's still able to tap in through the mists, and we end up venturing off into the mists in a couple expansions or something. So, there's a couple things where she might show up in a different way, but I thought it was perfectly.
You could always just
fine.
nudge her, right?
Yeah, just shake her a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna go and watch the trailer now. That's what we're gonna do.
Yes.
I'm gonna watch the trailer. So you have to watch on the stream. people. So go over there. I'll give you a second, but you've seen it many times. Audio and everything. Also, you've got Guild Wars 2 in the background, I just remembered. Because I will show you something in Discord, in the game very shortly as well. So I'm just going to quickly sort my audio levels out. Which is going to take just a second, because you can hear just people being agreeable of each other, apparently. There we go. Okay, good. So they dropped this trailer on us, and they website and all the things. If you can't watch the video, I'll link the trailer maybe as well. Let's be realistic. I probably won't do that. So just Google it, I guess. And here we go. Dear. Ooh! I've not seen that bit before. The end bit. I think I'd paused it by that point and like I'd not seen that before. Okay, awesome.
Okay.
I'm just gonna let that play in the background. Very, very cool trailer. Like, there's a lot from this trailer where I'm just like, so many thoughts and so many feelings. First of all, initial reactions of the trailer and how you felt about it. What did you get? Let me know how you feel about it. How do you feel?
It was a trailer.
Teaser.
In which
it was a trailer.
It was a teaser. And is it officially titled as like a teaser? I imagine so. There'll probably be like a more official release trailer later down the line. But I think as a teaser, it works. It works really well. We get a little, a few glimpses at potential new areas. It kind of sets up the villain with these riffs, and then of course at the very end we have this silhouette, which is a bit more ominous. But of course we have the Wizard's Tower. It just sets everything up with what we're going to be tackling in this expansion. So I think it did good.
Yeah, I think so. I'm like, sorry, got other people talk.
Okay.
Not me. I don't want to talk all the time. Like, you got reactions. I asked you for your reactions and then like talked. So
that picture right there, I'm reacting to that picture. So we got Zoja on the left hand side there.
Okay, let me just go back. Yes. Is it? Oh, maybe I can show you something in a minute where we can talk about
that's Zoja. I know that backside anywhere. That's definitely Zoja.
Yes.
Wow.
And then I don't know if the person in the middle is supposed to be the commander in new robes or if it is another NPC that we haven't met yet.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the right hand side is a very interesting character. There are a few people who think it. I said when I first saw it, I think it might be a seer. I don't know. You said something else, Fornax.
I think it might be a djinn. If it's not Zamaros, another djinn. That's my hypothesis because of the cuffs and the shape of the hands.
There's not that many types of characters in Guild Wars 2 that has two sets of arms.
Yeah.
There's
I can't think of any.
There's djinn and there's seers, basically.
No, and there's the Forgotten.
On the Forgotten, but they have like a tail.
They're more
right?
snaky and don't levitate.
Well, that tail could be out of shot.
Djinn do
But
levitate.
also, don't they also have
time.
like snake, like king cobra, like a bigger head, basically?
Possibly.
Let's look that up. Forgotten
Okay.
Guild Wars 2. Let's take a look.
Mm.
No, they look more like Naga, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they don't all have that, like the flanged heads.
I like the spell effects and stuff there. That looks cool. Fornax, what did you think about the trailer there as well?
I think it's a nice teaser. Sorry, I've been recording and I can't speak now. I think it's a nice teaser. I like the kind of, I love the Lord of the Rings. I'm a complete big nerd on it. So, you know, a lidless eye wreathed in flame, that's right out of the pages of Tolkien. I like the fact that I feel like we're getting the vanguard. I think the cryptos, who are the toothy boys of this expansion, I think they're kind of like the vanguard of a much more menacing figure. I think the thing behind the eye is gonna be the big bad, and I think that these are just foot soldiers. I love the fact that after 18 years of waiting, that they're bringing that they're giving people they're opening a mystery box. They're giving people something amazing. They're giving purpose to a thing that's just been sat there for nearly 20 years.
Is that a Stargate?
It looks like a Stargate.
It kind of does.
And those I tried to translate those. It's not Old Crichton, it's not New Crichton, it's not Canthan, it's not Char, it's not Masat. This is a brand new language as far as I can see, but I need to check that shaman who will be
And those
on it.
symbols on top also appear in the on the expansion page.
Yes, 3 of them.
Yeah.
If you go like release 1, release 2, release 3, they have those
But
symbols
there are
as
3 that are not, which could be like this expansion comes with 3 chapters, and then the 3 next releases will be like each.
Although they did say that
indicating or
each
lighting up.
They did say that each story is a self-contained story, so it's possible
Yeah.
that it will move on to something else after this.
Which is cool.
There is that arch. So in mythology, arches signify purity, which is why during the Matrix, every time you saw Trinity and Neo making love under an arch, it was a divine thing. So it's like a divine portal. And that arch is also in some more of the promotional material in a kind of plaza. So these are gateways. Quite clearly, and we see this kind of like an ocean of stars. We see it in Gaella Delves. We first saw it in the Bastion of the Penitent, which is a demon-infested hole. So I like the fact that they've actually got a lot of lead-in and a lot of ties. They like to do the long lead.
So are you saying that there's a distinct possibility that in this expansion we will be going to space?
I mean, that looks like space to me.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right.
There's a lot of
Making sure.
space.
Just making sure.
Yeah.
Just making
There's a lot of
I-
space for us to not go to space because we're gonna go up in the sky, which is like halfway to space.
This is true. I wanted to ask a question because I might not know this, and I watched your lore video earlier today, for next as well, and it's very good. Make sure you go watch that.
Thank you.
And I have some questions. I can't remember if you said it in that, but there's this line here. It says ancient fractures deepen. Is it that you know, I don't know if we know this, but there's these kind of fissures or these portals opening, right? We know there's going to be portals in this, in the new expansion and stuff. Is it portals to Tyria as well? And was the Wizard's Tower there to stop all of this, to stop whatever coming through, so that we didn't have this coming and now it's gone? Like there's going to be these portals around. Like, what is this kind of like a thought that is going around with anyone? It was just a sort of idea when I was watching the trailer.
I could read you the paragraph from the Astral Ward from the website.
Yeah.
Sure, read me that one if you want.
Tyria's hidden protectors.
Okay.
Join the Astral Ward in fighting off the Cryptis forces as they crawl into Tyria through rifts in reality, laying siege to Amnitas above. Laying siege to Amnitas above. So I guess we're in Amnitas above somewhere. Above Tyria.
So that's it. Like, are those? What I was saying was, what I meant was that was the Wizard's Tower stopping those from happening on Tyria, like inland? Is that what the function of the tower was for a lot of the time?
Sound like it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's already it already has a name and a type of structure to it. I imagine this has been going on for some time.
So like before Guild Wars 2 and Guild Wars, I guess.
The text literally says that they've been up there for thousands of years, isolated from humanity. Basically, they're the guardians at the door. They have been making sure that whatever the big bad is out there is not getting in. And I think that the catalyst that has fractured all this is Krakatoric. We're finally getting some consequences for his rampage through the mist. He's just destabilized everything. That will, at least that's where my head canon is.
Okay.
And is the void in any way related to this?
I don't think so.
I feel like it's a culmination of a lot of instances. Because I feel like Kralkatorks, it would maybe from a storytelling perspective, I feel like the consequences of Kralkatork would have been a bit more immediate. Having this be like, oh, it was because Kralkatork did it. It's probably Kralkatork on top of other magic cycle happenings, and maybe also just whoever is our big bad finally found enough strength to start breaking through, and it has nothing to do with the dragons.
Who's this guy at the end as well?
We don't know.
We don't know.
Okay, is
we'll pause
anyone
it.
like?
Let's take a look.
Yeah, pause it. But like,
So whoever it is, it's not the real big bad because the eye is behind it, watching over it, right?
Well,
so
I think its back is to us.
I think
it's forward facing.
I think it's forward facing. Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's the back. I think like it's wings slash like they'll. Yeah, I don't know.
I think his head is a bit lower because you can kind of see two horns.
Maybe actually, yeah, you might be right.
Yankee says it looks like Deimos, and yeah, a little bit actually. It's hard to see with the.
He's only got two arms
in
though.
the shadow. Yeah,
he's not got those grabby hands.
Yeah, he combined all of his arms around his neck into two big arms.
Maybe Deimos was a baby demon, and this is an older demon, and those small hands start to coalesce into giant punching.
Yeah,
I think they're looking.
Yeah.
I think they're looking at the eye for instructions, and that depicts that it is a minion, and the back of it is like some kind of pincers or things which go forward, and they go like this.
Or maybe it's guarding the entrance to the eye.
Maybe.
Or
facing us, yeah.
It is the big bad, and the eye is just a seeing tool, like a tool that it uses to gain more sight.
Like the.
Like Odin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the eye is not necessarily the enemy. We might have an enemy that is a bit more physical and not like the void where it's amorphous, strange.
Yeah, I feel like we've had a few complaints recently of having to fight orbs, and I think if the final boss in this expansion is an eye, maybe there'll be some more complaints.
Oh, but that's what I wanted to do, and then things come out of the eye, and I'm gonna stop there. So that was the trailer, and then they also dropped with that.
I have one more thing about the trailer.
Okay, go on.
So, is the town called Garenhof?
It's called Garenhof.
Yeah, I'm smart.
But it's
so
it's the Wizard's Fife, which is the area.
Starts out all nice and chill, and then the Wizard's Castle, Wizard's Tower, implodes on itself and teleports away, and then it cuts to a destroyed Garenhof.
Indeed. Oh, yes, sorry, yes, go on.
Looking a little bit more at the actual image, of course, there are new assets. There are new textures, new buildings, and all that stuff. But I don't actually think that this is on Tyria. I don't think this is on the ground. If you look into the background, there are other floating islands, and there's lightning striking where water would be. So I think it's probably... Garenhof will probably... My guess is it will be ripped up into the sky, and that will be our starting point in the expansion. And it'll start with like a big blast and a bigger,
Oh
narrative
yeah,
moment.
those two kind of spires in the background.
Yeah.
So you think this is an alternative universe, or is this like...
No, I just think Garenhof will be ripped into the sky.
So you think that do you think those two spires in the background are another tower, an evil tower? So you would say there might be twin towers and a big eye that's
Wow.
red. Okay.
I mean, yeah, look, because if you see over there on the right-hand side, I know this might not come up for you yet, but there is like other islands. You're right. Yeah, it looks like it has been. Yeah, good. And the water's not there anymore, as far as I can tell.
No.
Oh. So he's pulled this section of Tyria out, or it's copied it maybe or something, or...
Maybe. I think ripping it would be quite... Lore-wise, I don't know. But of course, we also have Amnitas and the Skywatch Archipelago, which, as it is said on the website, it reflects Tyria as well. But this is so similar to Garenhof. It's not just taking assets and replicating it. This is like a one-to-one copy, which is why I think it's kind of just in my head, it is ripped into the sky.
I had another thought about that as well. So I actually had a similar thought to you, but then another one as well. I was thinking a mini cataclysm as well. I was hoping but so it was more like actually it was ripped out, but it kind of destroyed parts of like maps, and that the new maps would be new versions of maps. And I was thinking, if it's been like kind of protecting Tyria for so long, maybe it's going to destroy some stuff, and like we'll see permanent change on the maps, and it gives them a good chance to kind of update graphics and stuff. Or
someone said alternate timeline possibly, and I mean that's a possibility too. Maybe the world that the Wizard's Tower is protecting us from is the underneath, like in Stranger Things, and there's an alternate Tyria just underneath the surface, and there's rifts that are breaking through now. Almost exactly like Stranger Things.
Well, someone else just, that's true. Someone else just said in the chat, King025, the tower looks like the Wizard's Folly Tower back from pre-Searing Ascalon.
It does, a little bit.
Okay, yeah. I mean, maybe it's pulling, maybe time. Maybe it could be like a time.
I think time might be a bit too finicky with starting out a new expansion, just going straight into multiple.
I don't know.
I don't think this is a different timeline.
Just put it all together. Just put it all together. We have space travel, time travel, and alternate dimension travel all at the same time in this expansion.
Let's go.
It'll be easy
peasy. Okay, what I'm going to do is quickly go back to the end. We've got a lot to talk about, and we're barely scraped the surface. Guild Wars 2 Secrets of the Obscure, August 22nd is going to be the release of the expansion. You're going to get standard things normally we get the shared inventory slot, the maximum level boost. You will get a magic juggle emote. Ooh. Depending on which version you get. And also, I think the weapons and the hat just come with it. Like, you get that. You get one weapon box, which you can pick one weapon from.
Only if you pre-purchased.
Yes, only if you pre-purchase.
Only if you pre-purchase.
Yeah, that's right. So make sure if you want that stuff, pre-purchase it. And then the other editions will have like the Raptor mount and the magic juggle emote, which is very, very cool. It's very reminiscent of ESO emotes as well. Very much a big fun one. Loving it. What are we thinking about the standard kind of 4,000 gems, which is for the, technically the way it's priced, like it's 50% off, but it depends how much value you put in the kind of deluxe edition items, if they're worth like that $25 or whatnot for you. So it really just depends how you kind of, it's an expansion. It's priced well. It's like $25 or £22 in the UK.
Yeah, and feel free to use one of your favorite creators' link to buy it.
And all of your favorite creators are here, and also someone is missing. So and Rook as well. So they're all here. Just pick one of us.
Or pick all of us.
Or pick all of us.
Go back. Can you go back to not, I guess, the beginning of the teaser, but it looked like it was following a timeline. So the thing disappeared after that gate closed. It looked like.
Okay, yes, that's true. So we're here. Let me just pause it for a second.
Here's the gate.
There's the tower. There's a failure up. Is that the same? See this tower here?
No.
Is it even? It's not the same tower, is it?
No. It's a new updated
tower.
Model. It is a different tower.
All right. Well, so that's good. I mean, I guess if it returns, then it would just be that one. But that's a different tower completely. Okay.
Yeah, it's an updated model, I guess.
Yeah.
So you're talking about that.
So here's the portal, and it disappears, and as soon as it closes, the bad stuff happens.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Now, is that connected, or is that just?
I mean, that's definitely connected. Like something's gone down, right? So they can't.
But my question is this teaser telling us the order of operations of things that happen that make that is this teaser trying to tell us the story, or is it just random things that are going to be in the expansion put in different places?
I mean, this
chronologically, yes, because the Wizard's Tower is already gone, so it's probably just showing us how the tower left.
Okay, and why do you think
gate activated.
that gate closing makes the tower leave?
It's got to float around somewhere.
Well, the gate is the connection, I think, isn't it?
Yeah. This is a doorway for the giant island, maybe, to like.
Yeah, it might just be a neat transition for the video. That's fair. That's what I was trying to ask. Is it
Maybe
just
not.
random?
It could
yeah.
be. I mean, yeah, true. But the thing is, if you don't forget that the island now, if you've done the interlude story, the island is not there. I'm going to show you in a sec. The tower is not there anymore, and it's not on fire. So like, this isn't what's technically happened here. Like, the tower's gone.
Yeah.
That's the real thing, but the fire has not happened. So you're right. It could be like a flash of what's to come from the expansion, like more of a transition.
Yeah,
than
so the
anything
tower's
else.
yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Where are the elementals still there?
Well, I will show you. We'll have a look. And we're also going to play some audio. Our mod, Reader Geek, has read some things. I want to play some bits and pieces from that as well. I'm going to pull us back, and I'm going to show you Rylus, who is another awesome mod of ours, actually messaged me this morning and was like, oh, there's some like dialogue and stuff in the game, which maybe many people haven't actually seen. So I'm going to show us over to that.
I would just like to say that secret organizations or organizations in Tyria are pretty directly named, like Dragon's Watch. Destiny's Edge is a little bit, superfluous, but Astral Ward, it sounds like they're defending us against space. And I think
against the Borg. The Borg are coming. Sorry.
Essentially, yeah.
All right.
Are you saying that Tyria has a space force?
That's right.
Oh my
Force,
god.
like Mist Force.
That's basically it, yeah.
Amazing.
I always equate space and the mists a lot, and I think it's okay
Really?
to do that. Yeah. I think it's all wishy-washy with Tyria. Like, as soon as you go into actual space in Tyria, I don't think there's other planets outside. I think planets exist like in the mists. I think the planet of Tyria kind of exists within the mists in a way.
I am very curious to see how they've set up their kind of their universe in terms of the physics of it. If
Yeah,
there is
that's
such
what
a
I'm
thing as
wondering
physics.
too.
We
Yeah.
need an infographic of like the first shell, the outer space, into the mists, into the void, and
Yeah.
Okay, anyway.
We need a James Webb for Tyria. That's what we need. Yeah.
Okay, so if you remember, do you remember April as well? April's here hanging out.
yeah,
And there's another villager
the
and they're
Mesmer
talking about,
Collective.
that's right. And they're talking about how it's gone, how you can see the moon now and other things. So this is very much still going on. And also over here we have the mayor. And he talks about it as well.
It's a one-horse town?
Okay, it was all a lie. I feel so ashamed, he says. The people of this town, they'll never trust me again. And then you ask, what are you talking about? The wizard's tower, the sentinel watching over this town, has vanished. No one has ever seen the tower's purpose. I compounded one lie with another, and now I'm paying for my hubris. What exactly was it that you lied about? That I knew Iskarin. No one living has ever seen him. An estrangement was struck generations ago when the tower established itself here. We sent our people to them. They watched over us. That sounds suspect. It had never been questioned before, not until the tower disappeared. And now, what fools we all are. Why have they done this to us? I don't know what else to say. I mean, it's kind of cool. Like, there is actual reactions from the people.
Yeah. But are the elementals still there?
I don't think so, because I think the elementals come from there, right? Yeah, no, there's normally one which loads boxes up and down from the port, and it's gone. And I cannot see any others.
Okay, there you go.
Oh no, wait, that's a lie. There's Marquesa, but that's, I don't know.
There's one elementalist left in the town. to
Yeah, I
summon
don't think
elementals.
that's, yeah, is that their elemental then? Must be.
Or maybe it's because for all intents and purposes, the elementals are all gone, but they didn't want to have to change a hero point. So that's still there.
Yeah. Well, I think that is the elemental. I think, like Chris said, I think that's the elementalist. So there is other.
Respect.
There is other language here as well. Town Guard, Pleshy, am I supposed to protect this town now? So because obviously the elementals were. It's just me. What did we do to drive the tower away? So there's almost this like is their god, their kind of protector and whatnot, which is very interesting. So if you want to come here and check out all the audio, just the text. Good times. Go on,
they were a cult. They were a cult back then, right? Like they were sending their loved ones up to the tower, and they disappeared forever. They were a cult of a town.
Yeah.
And I guess
so. Makes sense that they're in shambles now. Go ahead, Fornix.
I was gonna say, so the whole town, it's called Garenhof, right?
Mm-hmm.
Garen, as in the wizard Garen.
Yes.
And Hof meaning beloved or favorite. So it's literally he founded the town. It's his town.
Yeah.
And
but
no one living has seen him, so he's been gone for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
But wasn't he in Guild Wars, like in your video? Was that him?
Nobody's ever seen him.
Oh, okay.
So
that wasn't him.
There is reports of him. There was a report of him. So there's two that we know of. So the villagers talk about him like they've seen him. Some of them. Lasher does. And then there's Zamaros's journal that says that he came to the forge, threw some stuff in it, got something out, and buggered off. And because the Skrit are terrible at keeping their books, that Zamaros has no idea, and he hasn't seen Isgaran for a very long time, and he's asked Miani to keep an ear to the ground. And then there is another instance of him. They talk about the Grand Wizard Garen, who created the Ori at Divinity's Reach in the Palace Gardens, and that was some 60 odd years ago. So there are like lore instances of him in the game, of NPCs saying that they've had interactions of some capacity.
That was only 60 years ago?
60 years ago. Roderick, which would be Jenna's great-grandfather. So, yeah.
What's the life expectancy of people on Tyria? Because it feels like 60 years ago is not that long that nobody living would have seen.
I mean, is this really medieval times when people die at 30 of their teeth? I don't know.
It's true. I mean, they have the beetle plague. I wonder what other
keeping himself alive with other magical means.
I mean, maybe. Okay,
maybe he's a seer.
Do we think he pulled out the Heart of the Obscure from the Mystic Forge?
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe it's something else. That's the first thing my mind went to.
Yeah, because
it seems pretty important to the story.
Exactly. What did they put in? He went there once, put in stuff, got something out. Nobody knows what it was.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's why I think that Zamaros is there, because there's literally text in the game that kind of gives him a narrative inciting incident to actually like go off and do it. Also, if I've interrupted anybody, my connection to Discord is a bit meh, so I apologize if I've been interrupting.
You're good.
I think we're gonna jump over to thank you for the screenshot. I'm going to jump over to the blog post as well with the first one. Is there anything else we wanted to talk about with that? Because we're going to start talking about.
That other tower does look like the Wizard's Folly Tower. In the burning Garenhof.
The one with the two spikes?
Yeah. It looks like the Guild Wars one, the original one.
No, yeah, the original. The Wizard's Folly Tower, which is in a different place and says has no connection to the Wizard Tower. Oh. It's like in the beginning of the game, basically, you get to go see it. It's like a big tower spire that also is nobody really knows what it's for. So maybe they're bringing that back. One of those
street boxes. Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna move on.
Okay. All right. Fine.
Okay. This is gonna be announcing Guild Wars 2: Secrets of the Obscure. This is one of the first blog posts. I have the wonderful Reader Geek who will be doing le reading, and this is
French.
Le, the reading. That's the reading only, or la for Spanish.
Sounds more like milk reading.
La leyenda.
La lea. Sorry.
Okay.
I don't know
I
what that
forgot
is.
the present progressive of reading in Spanish.
Oh. So I'm gonna do this. You're gonna have to listen to it or like do the things via, you know, the stream because you're not gonna be able to hear this. So I'm sorry about that. Bye. I'm just gonna play this. Okay, I'm playing it now. We couldn't. You were joking, aren't you? We couldn't open new chapter begins as we can't get your what? What are you talking about? Okay, I'm just gonna quickly dip off this because apparently it won't let me play it, so I'm gonna have to play it from elsewhere. Give me a second. People.
Worst comes to worst, we could each pick a
No,
voice.
no,
and
no. I'm
read it.
playing this. This is being played.
all right.
I am 100% playing this. They did it and they took their time to do it, and I am going to get this played. But first of all, so just general reactions. Looks exciting. Is it good trailers to drop? Generally, it was like an exciting thing to look at. You're excited about the things. Good times.
Yeah. Who wouldn't be
Yeah.
excited about the Wizard's Tower?
I mean, I don't know. Someone who doesn't like wizards.
Only the cryptids, I guess.
The
I
what?
mean, they may like eating
Oh.
wizards. I mean, they seem yummy.
Yeah.
That's true.
I want to
Hey,
skin
wait,
those.
let's go. Can we go back to what a wizard is? What is a wizard in Tyria?
There you go. Go to that
Yeah.
and now while I fix this. Good job.
Thanks.
Yeah. I asked that question in my video. What is a
You
wizard?
did.
Is it an honorific? Is it a different type of magic?
What
is
is
it a
an
job
honorific?
description?
Is it because
Sorry.
elementalists have arcane as,
Yeah.
and it's not an element. Arcane isn't an element, but they can tap into the arcane magics at some point. I'm guessing
Yeah.
it's someone who specializes in arcane magic.
Mm.
I'm excited for more magic storylines. Like the Mesmer Collective might be involved, could be.
Ooh. Oh yeah, because of
arcane
April being there,
magic.
maybe.
Ooh,
Maybe.
Actually, you've just knocked something out of my head.
Right?
There's
You all right?
so at the tower, in the original game, there's a cult of people called the cult of Verata,
A new chapter.
and Verata was a necromancer
Necro.
trainer
Mm.
in pre-searing, exactly, right? So and the reason that it's kind of stuck out is because they've actually got some text about Verata in the Guild Wars 2 wiki. It's not only back in the day with the first person and the first quest, which was Galrath, the guy who the one quest in the game that was to do with the tower at all. It was like you get sent from Lion's Arch, you go to where the tower is, you kill Galrath because he's got plans to get the power, and he's associated with the White Mantle, and it's associated with the Lion Guard, and you're kind of like the wild card that gets sent out by, I think it's like first something Sergio, and you go and do it. And literally at the base of the tower, as it's like looming over the cliff, the Verata are there, and there's a kind of like an implication that he is interested. This fallen, expelled necromancer. He did something very naughty, got expelled from the order of Ascalonian necromancers. He set up his own cult, and so that could be like a narrative thread they could pull.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And we all know Verata, of course, is a reference to the Clatu Verata Nicto from the Evil Dead franchise.
Sure.
Which
yeah.
I think is a reference to something else as well. Hold on a second. What's that from? I'm looking it up.
Okay.
I was going to say,
I'm ready.
we all do we? Do we? Okay.
I'm ready to play the audio as well. So, you wanna?
Oh, the day the Earth stood still.
Oh,
It's a reference to
interesting.
Clatu Verata Nicto, which is from the day the Earth stood still. Yeah.
Nice. There you go. Ready's got it. As well.
Mhm.
Good stuff. Okay. Excellent. We're ready. I'm going to pop it over to the blog post. We're going to have Reedy Geek doing some reading. And
Which in both
boots to the face.
cases are stories kind of things from another world invading your world, and you're trying to fight them back.
Mm.
Dun 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 dun.
It's so true. Yeah.
True.
I'm going to play this, okay? Ready?
Begins in Guild Wars 2. Secrets of the Obscure. Today, we're thrilled to announce Guild Wars 2: Secrets of the Obscure, a new expansion launching on August 22nd. New features and content will arrive with the initial release and continue over nearly a year of additional feature and story updates. Extending the story. If you read our February and May studio update blogs, you've heard us talk about updating our approach to development to provide more consistent updates for both the core game and expansion content. Guild Wars 2: Secrets of the Obscure benefits from this new approach. At launch, you'll be able to play through a self-contained story. Following launch, this story will be seamlessly expanded upon in updates that come out every few months, telling a second, standalone arc.
Okay, I'm going to stop that there.
Mysteries, new threats.
You probably haven't heard it. Okay, that's very well. So they're talking about extending the story and also having their own arcs. We talked a little bit about it earlier. So having their own. Do you think that's okay? Like, it doesn't have to, the story doesn't have to continue throughout that. It's the same story theme, but it doesn't have to. It's not going to be like expansion story that continues over the entire year. It's just there's the expansion story which is closed off, and then you have a separate story that kind of spawns off from it. Do you think that's okay? Do you think that's good? Like, is that different? Like, what's the deal?
I think that's fine if that's what they're intending to do, and they're able to tell a complete story at first and then tell another good story afterwards. Mm-hmm. I had assumed, I didn't actually read that part, I had assumed that this whole year would be telling one story, not one story and then another smaller story. Yeah. I don't know if they're going to do that every time around. Like, I don't know if the next expansion we have is going to be separated that same way. It's possible that the next expansion will be just one big story. But yeah, I'll have to wait to see, I guess, because being able to tell an entire story in 2 maps worth of content in like a small expansion, it'll be difficult, I think. And so if they're able to do it, that's impressive. I'd like to see that.
I think as long as the Golden Path, the personal story chapters are nice and meaty, and they have a lot of substance to them, and that there are quite a few of them. They mentioned that they're going to be, of course, introducing two new maps, but also bringing the story back to older maps maybe as well. So they'll be able to play around with the space that they are operating in. But as long as the actual story chapters are good, can tell a satisfying story, I'm down for it. And of course, we're going to be, encountering similar themes, I imagine, and motifs in the quarterly updates as well. Just drawing from the simple fact that the actual website has those symbols as like release 1, release 2, release 3, it'll probably be in the same realm.
Yeah, but I guess probably the reason they did that is because they didn't want the initial release of the expansion to feel like it's incomplete. They probably wanted it to feel like a complete thing and then have a living world type thing afterwards. But yeah, it's hard to. It's hard. Like,
if the symbols are anything to go off of, there are 3 missing from the website. And if those symbols are like the acts of the story and there's enough substance within those acts, other expansions have had 3 acts. Maybe they could do it with kind of a 2-map expansion like this.
Maybe.
I think I think you're right. I think to a good degree, Boots, because I kind of share that same feeling. I think it would just be a shorter story. I think because it's it's one expansion, right? Like, it's in all the other expansions, the story has been there. That's it. It's been the main story.
Yeah,
in the expansion,
we've had one story told so far, and it's been 10 years long. Being able to tell a complete story in this game in one essentially like 2 episodes of content. It's maybe really it's more than that, but 2 maps worth of content would be a feat that hasn't been done before, for sure.
I mean, that's the overarching the dragon cycle. I think this is them just trying to make it a lot shorter and more compact, right? So that we can just have more and different stories being told, I guess, right?
Ending the story doesn't necessarily. Well, I guess the idea of telling a complete story within an expansion that we are now getting used to can be a bit more subjective, because to some people that would mean like killing the actual main bad guy.
True.
But it could just
Very
be
true.
like thwarting the main villain to an extent where we can kind of relax a bit and then give it some time to pick it back up again, going into a different region where we're still dealing with similar themes, but it's enough of a satisfying ending for an expansion that you're like, okay, that's good. I don't know.
Sure. But to be honest, I don't know if I would be that satisfied if it was okay. That's good.
Good.
As an ending,
Well, not in terms of the actual quality, but just like the plot points within the story.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, Fortnite. Sorry.
No, I'm actually going to be a bit of a dissenting voice here. I think that we have.
Okay.
I think we have had stories like this. Balthazar.
Yes.
Balthazar
very
and
much so.
Krautoric.
That's very true.
So we
Balthazar.
got Balthazar. His story basically happened over an expansion and a half, right? We got some lead up, then we got his his Masat moonlighting, and then we faced him in Path of Fire, and then the next act, that was the Living World, which was a complete standalone story by itself, was Krautoric.
Yeah.
So each dragon is basically an act in and of itself, right?
Right, but that's so. To tell his story, not only did we have all of the lore from Guild Wars 1 to draw from, who Balthazar is in this world, we also got an entire Living World season before the expansion telling you how he's introduced, and then we had the entire full expansion of him before the next Living season. The next Living season didn't involve him, that's true, but his story was told in that expansion, and it wasn't half of 1 year's worth of expansion work.
True.
It was a lot more than that.
But I don't. Oh, sorry, go on.
Oh, just to add, they might be able to add more story content with this system rather than having to spread it out between 4 maps. We haven't really experienced this new style of expansion yet, so we're thinking it in terms of a shorter narrative, but we might be able to get somewhat of a what we would expect from like a quote unquote normal expansion. We still might be able to reach that point if the narrative is bulky enough.
I'm not saying it's impossible. I think it might be possible. I'm just saying it hasn't been done yet in the game.
It.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Well, let's question it. I mean, what I think is something we forget is it's that they say we're having 2 new maps with the expansion, but the assumption is that all of the story is going to take part on those maps. What they could do is just go back, we could be in Wizards 5 and we could be doing stuff there. We could be in other maps doing things. Maps could change.
Sure. But I mean, like the amount of content you put into an expansion isn't just the amount of maps that are in the expansion. True. It's also relied on how much time you had to work on the expansion. And so the way they're doing this is essentially every year is a new expansion. So every year you're making an expansion. So the amount of content in that expansion is a year's worth of content, right?
Yeah. I mean, there are games that release just a zone and 2 zones, and that's their expansion for the year, and they tell all the stories in that. ESO does it pretty well.
Yeah.
I mean,
We will
I
have
would
to
say
see.
Yeah.
I would say you're making an assumption that they're not going to stand on the shoulders of giants, because there is a wealth. I mean, look, this has been in the game for 18 years. There are lots of little breadcrumbs that they've actually seeded throughout the game.
Oh, that's true. That's a good point. Yeah.
We have Zoja, who is a returning character, so she has a wealth of backstory that they can tap into. We could find out what happened to her after the Blighting Tree, why she's involved in this situation. So she has a kind of like a weighty narrative place coming from. If they use Zamaros, like it looks like they're doing, there's all the Miss Gambit lore that they could like bring into the mainstream. We've got a Yeah, we've got a huge amount of lore about the Jinn, and we could actually learn more and more about the Jinn. So it's kind of like, if you think about it, it's like building on top of building on top of building, so that we have this kind of like paradigm shifting, inciting incidents, which is the tower going pop. But it's already got quite a big foundation of lore built up underneath it.
Right.
So it's not like the kind of like pulling this kind of thing out
No,
of
of course not.
the
Like,
ether.
every new expansion is not going to be suddenly we're not in Tyria anymore. You know, it'll be dry
Don't say
pond
that, 'cause
lore.
I would not want that. I mean, maybe we're not going to be in there.
Good point.
Yeah.
Good point. But no, it'll still draw upon the lore of the Mists or Tyria if we somehow leave Tyria at some point. But it's still, it still will be an impressive undertaking if they're able to tell a satisfying story in half a year worth of content.
Okay, I'm going to push us
I
on.
agree.
I'm going to push
We
us on.
simply do not know.
Like how Creepy's just piping in every sometimes and just saying, we don't know. It's true. Creepy's said the truth. We're going to push on because we've got so much to talk about. I love that we're excited about all this, really. Sorry, was someone's.
I wanted to say one more thing.
Okay, go
so
on.
you said we could use old maps. They've already said we're going to. These rifts, these eyes. There's going to be invasions throughout Tyria. So it's the expansion isn't contained to the archipelago. You were right.
Cool. I think so. Cool. It's that's so very reminiscent of Scarlet's invasion, if you remember, which was cool. Very cool. And maps change. Like there was just shitload of. There was like essentially a meta, right? Because it culminated in the what's their name? The thingamajig.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
Scarlet's bot. Thing.
Scarlet's bot?
Yeah, the
breach maker.
It was in Wayfarer.
Oh my god, I know what you're talking about.
It's the flipping
boobs.
Yeah. Well, boobs.
The marionette.
No. Yeah, that's it. So that's what we had to do. We had to do that event before we went to the marionette, as far as I remember.
Sorry. That's what we have to do. We have to build a giant woman with massive metal breasts. Yeah. And everything will be fine.
No, we fought them.
Yep. Whenever I forget anything in life,
also
I just
would
say
be fine.
Boobs.
You just want to say boobs.
Back.
Okay, right. I'm going to play the rest of this. We're on to Ancient Mysteries, New Threats.
The story of Guild Wars 2, Secrets of the Obscure, represents the opening of a new chapter. The Elder Dragon cycle that dominated major events from the original launch through Guild Wars 2 End of Dragons has come to a close. In fact, today's game update includes a small scene to transition out of the End of Dragons storyline.
Mm-hmm.
This interlude brings us to a scenic overlook in Setung Province, where one of our dearest comrades has some bittersweet news to share. In the quiet that follows, a new force rises to threaten Tyria. As you fight back against Cryptus invaders from the Mists, you'll uncover the answers to mysteries that have haunted Tyria from the time of the original Guild Wars. Ancient rivalries come into play. The world is at risk. While we've relied on the aid of our allies in many adventures to date, it's time for you to find your footing in a darker, more mysterious side of the world. Now that the cycle is over, Tyria is blood in the water. The Mists are watching. 2 explorable zones, and the Wizard's Tower Outpost, floating high above the Tyrian coast, will be available at launch. In the releases that follow every few months, a 3rd explorable zone will open in conjunction with the ongoing story that plays out.
Okay, I have a question, because I don't know this, and you may have mentioned it in your video, Fornax, as well. The Cryptus. Can you give us a little bit of like history on who these? As you fight back against Cryptus invaders, what does that mean? Is that something that is covered? Like, do you know about this? I'm a little bit clueless.
No, these are brand new bad guys.
These are brand new.
You could.
Okay.
I mean, so Menzies and the Fisher of Woe could be involved in the armies of dark. Menzies.
You refuse.
Menzies.
Until I get yes. the guy,
Menzies.
the evil brother of the very good Balthazar. Yes. No. So it could be tangential. So we've got obsidian armor coming into the game, which is from the Fissure of Woe. Menzies is from the Fissure of Woe. The Fissure of Woe is filled with the nightmare creatures. We've got nightmare creatures in Gayala Dells, which is the kind of, this could be the kind of the foreshadowing build up. So they could just be like the forerunners. This is the ultimate consequence of like the Marganite for, you know, these are for, oh my god, why is this?
These are the scouts or something?
Abaddon, thank you. It fell out of my brain. Yeah, these are the foot soldiers of a god. I mean, if you want to know my theory as to what is actually going on, so they say it's from back when we first arrived. So I think that I think humanity came through this portal. I think that the gods led them here. They set up this guard at the gate, and that this is what they were fleeing. This is why the humans are on this world in the first place.
Oh,
They
interesting.
set up a guard at the door, put the people here so that they would be safe. They've lost their home world, and now because of all the events and all the magic and the breaking of the magic cycle, like we saw in that fantastic in-game cutscene with the pyramids and Balthazar and the breaking, it's destabilized everything enough with everything that's happened and all the dragon deaths and all the cumulative damage that now the guard at the gate has been broken and the things that they were fleeing in the first place is coming out.
I like it.
I like it too. What? Actually, that's a good question. I have a question about the human gods.
How far are we going off here?
I guess.
We've got a lot to talk about. Like we have everything to talk about, and we can have another podcast, and we can talk about this. But we've got
You can PM me as well.
systems as well. I'd love to talk about this in the separate podcast, but we're not going to get through it if we keep going off track.
Seem very related to demons, though, in a lot of ways.
Very.
Oh, it's all demon-y. Yeah.
I'm excited. It's a bit more of a darker tone. Assets and character ideas and customization that is a little bit more mature. And coming off the heels of End of Dragons, there were some heavier moments within the expansion, but tone-wise and theme and the coloring, it was a bit brighter. And this, of course, will still be fairly bright, but in terms of the enemies, it's a bit more like demented and horrific.
Okay.
Scary looking.
Well, with a new expansion comes new stuff and new ways of getting things, and I think Reading is going to be talking about that next, aren't you? Yes.
Soar with the Skyscale. The Skyscale mount was first introduced in Living World Season 4, following Guild Wars 2 Path of Fire, and it changed the way players navigate maps in Guild Wars 2. We love the freedom and movement options the Skyscale offers, which is why we want to make sure it's readily accessible to as many players as possible. As a result, we're adding a new Skyscale mount acquisition method with this expansion. Whether or not you own Guild Wars 2 Path of Fire or completed the original Skyscale collection, Guild Wars 2 Secrets of the Obscure will grant you a more streamlined collection to unlock a Skyscale of your very own. Once you've unlocked the Skyscale in Guild Wars 2 Secrets of the Obscure, you'll get access to a new Skyscale skin collection. Completing that will award you a terrifying and beautiful Cryptus-themed Skyscale skin.
Interesting. So I love that when someone else reads that, I really do hear and actually pay attention more to the article. It's funny that it's like they should do videos or something. But like, not to harp on that too much. But first of all, you're going to be able to get a Skyscale in a very different way. You're still going to be able to get the original way, but you're going to be able to get it in a much easier way. How do we feel about that?
It's fine.
I love it.
Yeah, I think it's good for the game because there's like people buying the game nowadays know that there is a Skyscale available, and it's in a not very accessible way to get
Absolutely.
it, you know?
Mhm.
Like, so new people coming to the game now want to play the content with people who are playing the new content, right?
Right.
And they don't want to go back to have to go to Living World Season 4, Episode 8 in order to get something that's so important for the game these days. So it's good. It'll be good for the game, I think. I think maybe the boosts you get if you already have the Skyscale and you get the new masteries might be not the greatest for the game in how
No.
powerful the Skyscale is going to be now.
They need
Seems
to
a little crazy,
heavily
I think.
reconsider that.
Wait, what did you say?
Heavily
I missed
reconsider.
that. I looked at the chat. What did you say?
Okay, so if you have the Skyscale already, you have all the old masteries, and you do the new masteries, you get the
extra
Skyscale in the new way, you get extra things. And the things you get, and I think it's not only if you've done the old ones, some of the things you get from the new masteries are wild.
Yeah, you're getting ahead of us at the moment.
Okay, we'll get to that later. But
we're not there.
In line with the sky scales, so
yeah, but before that, before we get to those masteries, I will say that I think it's good because it means that new players and old players alike will be able to use the Skyscale now for sure. And that means that they're able to design the new maps for the Skyscale. And I think that's interesting because
exactly. More verticality.
in the past, all maps are basically just, you know, a playground for a Skyscale to make fun of, and do whatever it wants in, and just like parkour as much as it wants. If a map is designed for a Skyscale, it might be more interesting in that way. And I think it could be good.
Someone said in chat, I think it was Dias Vitae, who is a wicked artist, and said, the lack of tail of that Skyscale disturbs me. I just saw it, and it looks like there's a gap there where it should be. I didn't notice that before. It doesn't have a tail, so it's more of a like classic demon kind of... I mean, I don't know, actually, some demons do.
I think that's the horrifying part of the horrifying and beautiful Skyscale.
Maybe, that's true.
yeah, they said beautiful. I want to talk to someone about that. Beautiful?
I mean, the upper part of its face is missing, so I have
There are like
questions.
horns gouging out of its eyes.
I like the wings. The rest of it,
I like that we
love
don't
it.
have to go on the gem store and buy it, so it's bloody fantastic.
As long as it's free.
Yeah.
But it's going to give us, there's going to be more
No.
skins as well. Ooh.
Genuinely love
Yeah.
this skin. I think this skin is really cool. It's really awesome. I just like it when we have a little bit more darker tones
That's
with
true.
the cosmetic options.
Yeah, and it does point towards possible things about the cryptids that we don't really know yet. Because if this is a cryptid skin, one of its distinguishing features obviously is like ugly demonicness of it and boniness or whatever. But then also look at its wings. It's like suspended magically, right? Like they're not connected to the rest of its body. I think.
Yeah, it's
It's
interesting.
just flesh. There's no boning or anything connecting it.
Yeah.
That's
So that's probably going to be the same for a lot of the cryptids that we're going to see, and I wonder how that works. What's up with that? Why are they like that?
Maybe they're homunculi.
Maybe they're homunculi.
Maybe they are homunculi.
Yeah.
What's that?
Maybe they're magical creations of an eye of some sort.
Yes, like puppets, like puppets.
Yeah.
Like a puppet on a string. Sorry.
I will say that I do love the griffin skin that we've seen that we get from the vault, which you're going to talk about later.
Yes.
And also, I would hasten to point out that a lot of the stuff that the Skyscale is getting, the griffin is getting. They're getting the updrafts, they're getting the ley line flying. So that's all win, and oh my god, Tangle Depths is going to be nicer.
Well,
So,
they say here that is
Big
good.
wins for Heart of Thorns.
Yes, true.
yeah, I have to go and visit my husband occasionally.
They do say as well that you'll get access to a new Skyscale skin collection as well. So this is the first hint of new awesome rewards, different rewards that we'll be able to.
in-game mount skins.
Exactly. Yes.
Amazing.
For the first time. It is the first time other than the original skin, we're going to be able to earn actual skins in the game. And it doesn't look
great.
like that's going to, it doesn't feel like that will be too challenging. I don't know. We'll see. But that's pretty cool.
New tracks. for
That's the
wings.
first kind of-
definitely new tracks.
Yeah. I mean, maybe, well, we'll get to the rewards in a bit, so maybe it's through that. I'm gonna chuck. I'm just gonna chuck this back on so Rita can tell us about all the cheeky updates that are coming with the Skyscale masteries.
Skyscale Mastery Updates. Guild Wars 2 Secrets of the Obscure Skyscale Mastery line includes new abilities, like the Fireball aerial attack. You'll unlock at Tier 2. Some of the new mastery tiers grant Guild Wars 2 Path of Fire masteries. In those cases, players who have trained Skyscale masteries from both expansions will get a bonus functionality unlock. For example, the first tier of the Guild Wars 2 Secrets of the Obscure Skyscale Mastery grants Air Rescue, the ability to mount in midair. If you've already trained Air Rescue with the Guild Wars 2 Path of Fire Mastery line, you'll now get Bond of Vigor every time you use Air Rescue. Mastering the Rift.
Okay, good. I was wondering whether or not Rita read the table, and I'm just going to pull up the table. So yeah, you're going to be. It's basically what Boots just said as well. So there's the what is it? So free is Wall Spring, which gives you more energy, right? Upgrades to Wall Launch to charge faster and launch further. Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Yeah.
That's not one of the crazy things.
No.
So
There's one here that's...
Which one is
possible
it?
crazy thing? Well, so one of the possible crazy things is the Air Rescue giving you Bond of Vigor, but
Okay.
that's only if there's no internal cooldown on Bond
Right,
of
that's
Vigor.
the Bond of Vigor is the energy increase. Back,
is the
right?
energy increase. So
Okay.
if you dismount midair and then mount midair, and it always gives you Bond of Vigor, you could just continuously dash forward, leave, go back on, dash forward, leave, go back on, over and over again. So I'm assuming there's going to be an internal cooldown on that, so that's probably not that bad. Flying mounts can use updrafts. Also not that bad, because that's just interesting. I mean, they put updrafts in certain places.
It's very interesting, isn't it? So the same ones as we can use for our gliders, right? That's brand new, isn't it? That's interesting. I do like that. I'm an enjoyer of that.
Now,
Sorry.
one of the things, I think it could be good. It could be good.
Awesome.
One of the things that might cause some issues is the ability to mount your Skyscale in combat.
Why is this a mastery?
That is interesting. I skirted over that. Why that makes it... Well, that's interesting, because it may mean that there are going to be mechanics in this region where we need to mount to move elsewhere while combat is happening. I would assume.
Sure. Something that when I was on Host of Ascalon, they said, I think Alona brought up, is maybe some of the... If you're going to be using your Skyscale a lot in this map and you're able to mount in combat, maybe enemies will be interacting with mounts more, have abilities that like pull you off mounts or something like that.
I mean, there already is as well, yeah. So like that's possible.
They technically do have like break bars that they could implement into the mounts, but
That's true.
I think it's just there's been so many elements brought into Guild Wars 2 and removed from Guild Wars 2 that brings a meaningfulness to death in the game, in the open world, and getting into combat and not being on a mount was like the last thing in Guild Wars 2 that made it feel like, oh, I'm in combat, I should engage with it.
Now, once again, this might be not terrible if there's a long cooldown associated with it. Like
I
if
don't
you're
think
only...
this will have a cooldown.
I mean, it's possible it won't. If it doesn't, then it's going to be a little crazy. But if it does have like a 2-minute cooldown or a 3-minute cooldown or something, then it might be okay.
I doubt it will, because it would probably function as some type of... I guess it could. I don't see why they would do that, though.
Yeah.
Just to have it on a few minutes of a cooldown.
Just so that you can't abuse it, so that you can't have Cavalier runes on, mount your guy, get out of combat, go, or not even get out of combat, just mount, attack, Cavalier runes every 20 seconds, and have a 20% damage boost for free.
I don't know. Mounting in combat in any moment, to me, is a little shaky. And I've never seen that in any other game, and I think it just kind of wears at the, integrity of open world challenge to what little it does have.
No, sure, of course.
So I actually am
Interesting.
a really big opponent of this. I don't like it, and I don't think it would help Guild Wars 2 in any way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you.
Thank you.
I think maybe they could restrict it to if it is going to be something they use in the new map and region, like maybe allow it there or something, but then it would be weird. I don't know. Yeah, there is
No.
part of me where I'm like, well, now you can just run away from fights if you want to. And it's just like,
Can I play?
yeah.
Can
Go
I play
ahead, yeah.
devil's advocate?
Absolutely can.
Okay,
Sure.
so devil's advocate. We already have this in game already. So we already have battle mounts. Got the turtle.
You can mount in combat?
You can't mount
Oh, yeah,
during
you can,
combat.
yeah.
You can't mount. Okay. And we have battle mounts in World v World, and they get nuked down. It's not good. So
You can't mount
yeah.
in combat also, though.
you can't mount in combat, but it's got a health pool. All they have to
but-
do is kill your mount.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, so
All
again,
danger.
like I said, something that was brought up before is maybe the enemy's target mounts. And then that's kind of interesting in its own way.
They must have thought about that, you know.
I just don't see why they would allow you to mount in combat only for the enemies in the new expansion to be able to burst you out of the sky.
or that you have to move. I mean, this is like what I was saying about like
You know what?
if
Maybe
it's-
you know what it might be. Oh no, maybe not. Maybe it's hard. Because it is sometimes hard to get it out of combat, right?
Okay.
And so like,
yes,
what if
it's really annoying?
what if
Too
they
long.
found while playtesting through these new maps that you get knocked off of the islands pretty easily, and you're still in combat, so you can't do anything about it, and you fall to your death every time. Maybe.
That's why I wonder if they could have just
Potentially.
implemented gliding into this expansion as well, if they haven't already like done that, because you can still
Maybe,
glide while in combat, and especially if this expansion is going to have heavy use of updrafts and ley lines, just allow that to be utilized as well. I think mounts are pushing it a bit too far.
Yeah,
I've always been fine with gliding because it doesn't really have any combat function.
You know what it does though?
It's a bit more
It actually
limited.
does, because you could like if you're fighting something in open world and you're standing on a rock or something, you could jump off the rock, glide, use your jade booster, fly up really high, and get out of combat that way. You basically
Yeah.
have it already.
It's true, actually. Yeah, that is very true.
But that requires you to. There are
A little
ways
bit
of getting
more
out of
effort.
combat. There are some moments where it's
And
a
also,
bit
when
difficult. Other
with
moments
the
where it's
gliding
a bit easier.
masteries, if you dodge while gliding, you go invisible. So essentially, you could escape from any combat you
That
want
is a good
right
point.
now.
I guess.
You already can escape.
I
but-
guess.
It requires you to redirect what you're doing.
Yes, sure.
Well, I think. Go on, Phonics.
So sorry. I'm laggy. I honestly think that we can't really judge the mounts until we've seen what the mechanics are on these maps. There could be a very specific reason why we have these. There could be. We could be experiencing aerial combat with the Cryptus. They could actually be like flying around, killing us, and we have to get on a mount and we have to pursue them.
And we get like extra abilities and stuff, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've had
I
before.
mean, you remember we had all those extra
Heart
abilities when we were
forms.
gliding for being able to like chuck things down.
Yeah, heart forms and stuff as well.
Yeah.
Well, we have instances where we need to utilize the siege turtle for its combat uses, particularly for defiance bars. And in the case
Put
of
little
like
wings on the
in
side.
the middle of combat, I don't know if that would be as successful in the open world as it would be in a more structured story mission, where it's more of a set piece rather than a normal flow of gameplay. I don't know if that would have the same impact in the open world as it would in like a story step.
I see what you're saying, for sure. I think what we've found with ArenaNet is they're very good at implementing and not really caring about what other games do and doing it their way. And this is one of their spins on it, right? Mounting in combat is just one of those things they're going against.
I think it has.
They're good. They're good at doing mounts. They're really great with mounts.
It could be okay. But I think Kroof has a point that it could devolve.
Yeah, absolutely.
It could devolve.
I feel like at that point, I'm worried that the game is like not taking itself as seriously as I think a game should. Because if it gets to that point, it'll just be like, oh, well, I'm done with this fight. Because like,
Well, think about it
I don't
this
know.
way as well. Like,
I'm just gonna hop onto a mount and just
if
leave.
you can
and
use
it's like,
a mount,
okay.
if you can use a mount in a raid, what does that mean? Like, you know, does that mean you're going to avoid mechanics? Like, are they just going to disable
I
mounts?
think they're still going to have for certain things like that. They're just going to disable mounts like they usually do.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the one mastery where I am a little like, ooh, I don't know if But the other masteries coming with the Skyscale, I'm actually extremely happy about and extremely excited about. Adding another element of aerial combat with fireballs.
Oh,
I think that could be interesting because it kind of transforms the Skyscale into a combat mount. So you
do you think there's going to be flying targets?
Maybe,
what
or
Fortnite
it could be similar to. I think leading up to combat or during like a phase change in a meta event where you have to break down a break bar, that's always fun because it I don't know. It's just something different, but I don't know if I'm a little wishy-washy on this.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, do you think we've already seen the counter to the flying with the grappling hooks already in the Fractal?
I haven't even played the new Fractal.
So you're flying around. You have to avoid. You've got you still have your invisibility and stuff. But if you have to be avoiding people who are trying to grapple you down, you'll be desperately trying to do as much damage as you can with them, spamming that until they like drag you to the ground. Could be an interest.
That's why I think those situations work better in controlled environments and controlled instances. I don't know how this. That's another thing. I don't know how this mastery would really improve the open world experience. Other than, in my opinion, making it a little less seriously and just being like, well, I've already killed the thing that I need to. I got the thing that I need to. Bye.
Yeah, I see that. I would say, I agree with both of you. We'll just have to wait to see how it's implemented. But with the fireball things in the air, I'm kind of interested in the possibility of a new adventure. If it's ground targeted instead of like tab targeted, of maybe an adventure where you fly around and shoot targets out of the sky. That'd be kind of fun.
There you go.
Kind of like a solo version of the turtle mount ones.
I will say thematically. So as soon as we got the Skyscale and they did their dragon breath, I was like, oh yeah, baby, let's do this.
Yeah,
and now we actually we get to live that fantasy. If we care about class fantasy, we care about Skyscale fantasy, and they would be able to use that fire breath to do something. And I like the fact that they brought it in. If it works, maybe it doesn't. You know, but thematically, I think it's brave of them, and I'm really happy to see. And I'm so interested to see what these maps are like because they're putting so much emphasis on the ability to be mobile in the air to the point where they're willing to allow the wrath of people who have gone through that grind to get a Skyscale. They're taking that on the chin so that people can get these mounts because these maps must be something incredible. I'm really stoked to run around.
We're going to dip over to the next part. Thank you everyone for your thoughts on that. Mastering the Rifts is our next bit, and I'm going to pop up the graphic and stuff as well as we have a look at all
2
the
additional
things.
mastery lines will be introduced in Guild Wars 2 Secrets of the Obscure, both of which are closely tied to the expansion story. As you fight off the ravages of the Cryptus, you'll make allies of the Wizard's Court and Astral Ward, ancient protectors of Tyria, who have been brought out of their seclusion by the Cryptus threat. Through your new allies, you'll gain access to a powerful artifact called the Heart of the Obscure. With Cryptus forces pouring into Tyria through portals in the mists, it falls to you and the Astral Ward to track down and close those portals and deal with any Cryptus that have managed to pass through them. The Heart of the Obscure and the Astral Ward masteries will aid you as you hunt and close rifts throughout Tyria. Together, the 2 mastery lines will allow you to explore the world more freely, taking on greater threats and earn richer rewards. The Skyscale, Astral Ward, and Heart of the Obscure mastery lines will all be available at launch on August 22nd. We're planning to introduce a 4th mastery line in the first major release following launch.
Interesting. You know what? When it said mastering rifts, I was like, Ooh, this is like kind of Rift. Like, I know. Little random
What makes
events.
you say that?
Just the word. Literally that. No, that's
I'm
not
not gonna lie, I was
isn't
also-
Rift spelled with a Y in
No.
the game? So there's
No,
very
same
different
spelling.
things. Oh, same
So,
spelling? Oh, okay.
What
That is
the
exactly the
but
same.
what the rifts are
I
in
kept
Rift,
thinking of it.
they're invasions from another plane. Their plane are elementals, so they like from water, earth, and everything else. But like in this, it's still an invasion. So essentially, it could be very similar, but also what these masteries are. I'm interested to know what your thoughts are about this, everyone. About in terms of what kind of things could we see in those mastery lines? You know, could it be things like to close the rift, or
allow you to explore the world more freely. So I don't know. And then it says take on greater threats and earn richer rewards. Does that mean that it's like a thing that unlocks hard mode for you in game?
My prediction is that we'll encounter these rifts in the open world as well, and you'll have to have certain mastery levels to unlock those rifts, and then maybe fight the rift to gain more rewards, maybe like some unique materials and currency, you know, Wizard's Vault currency as well.
Yeah.
I like
And
that.
depending on your mastery level, it powers up the rift and gives you bigger rewards. Yeah.
Or there are different tiers of rift. Well, we have some talent going by. But there could also be like different tiers of rifts that you can encounter in the expansion zones, and you could only like summon it or rip it open if you have like the maximum tier in the Heart of the Obscure.
And so the explore the world more freely, do you think is kind of going to be like that that world boss device portal device that like will take you to the
That would be great.
Yeah, it's a thing that you open up and it takes you to the different rifts across the world, maybe.
I really don't know what that means.
Yeah, okay.
I have no idea. Not even a hint, not even a spark of a brain cell firing, thinking about what that means in terms of like traveling more freely or, movement of some kind.
Forlex, any thoughts?
So I feel like these are going to be very much akin to, in some ways, to the Itzel and Exalted Law.
Oh, really?
So so it's a law. It's jumping mushrooms. It's giving us access to areas where there was lots of poison, so you couldn't get. So it literally gave us access to different areas. If you think about like the jackal portals, give players access. So that kind of thing. And Exalted Law with the portals and being able to summon allies during battle and that. So I feel like it's going to be very much in that vein. And again, I think very tied. They do super well the kind of making the environment a character in and of itself. The traversal of the map is literally like 80% of the gameplay. Getting there, understanding how the maps work and that kind of thing. And I feel like that's going to be crucial. So that's how my brain works. How they're going to implement these, what type of map traversal. I feel like the Heart of the Obscure is basically a portal key. So the higher up level there is, the bigger the rifts that we will be able to tackle. So you might get smaller rifts as your lower level, and then you'll be able to open group rifts like champion bounties. That kind of
I actually use the terminology bounty on the website.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, okay.
And Astral Ward mastery line, do you think that's going to be to like upgrade the outpost, the Wizard Tower outpost?
Well, they've said that it's going to be a component in the Legendary, which I think might be the fourth mastery system, but very possibly coming afterwards, because they've said that doing the Astral will unlock recipes, which made me think about and the Exalted that you have to have, and you have to also collect all the Astral armors for all the weights and all the Rift Hunter armors for all the weights.
Or could this be
to
for
actually
the legendary
complete
armor
the
as
legendary.
well?
Exactly. This is the whole. So as soon as the expansion launches, you can start your legendary journey, and you can get all the components, which is going to keep people in and keep them doing all jumping through all the hoops. and it's going to be quite shocking for some people who've never done any legendary stuff
Mm-hmm.
to see how far that rabbit hole goes. But yeah,
Do you think it's going to be, well, obviously it's not, it's going to be different from the way you get it ready, like, which is kind of time gated in that, with like world versus world, you have to do like a certain amount of weeks of it for each piece.
I don't think they'll time gate this.
No, yeah. So, but what I'm asking is,
Hopefully.
if you remove that time gate, you'll just have to do like certain things in the open world. Probably, if you remove that time gate, is it still going to have the monetary cost? Is it
I
still
think
going
they
to
will
have the
time
gold
gate.
cost?
I don't think we're going to get a complete legendary set until the end of the expansion. I think they're going to.
Oh yeah.
It
well,
depends if you need stuff
There's
from the
always
new...
a time gate.
It's
but
a different type of time gate, though.
I wouldn't mind seeing a more minor version of time gating. Is never like the best thing, but I wouldn't mind it if it was just very minor elements. But I would hope that it's less of a time gate thing as opposed to like PvE, provisioner tokens, or world versus world.
Yeah, those are the worst.
Yeah, considering it's more open world, I
Not
imagine
like
it's going to more so be just a testament of playing the game actively, and that you can, you know, go about it at your own time frame once all of the masteries, you know, are in, and you can acquire that piece of legendary armor.
It's the well, actually, we'll get back to that. I'll start talking about legendary armor. I'm going to push us on again unless anyone has anything burning.
Yeah, no, I was just going to ask, what do you guys think about the amount of gold it might cost to craft one?
Okay, so that's not anything to do with this.
I have an answer. I have no idea.
There you go. What was your other answer though, which was also good? We'll have to wait and see.
Oh.
Well, I love it. Okay, fine. All right, we're on one blog post of 3, so we're going to push on. Okay, last bit.
Fractal of the Mists, Strike Missions, and Challenge Modes. Guild Wars 2 Secrets of the Obscure will bring new challenging content in the form of 2 new strike missions and a Fractal of the Mists, each with an accompanying challenge mode. Both strike missions will be part of the August 22nd launch. Their challenge modes will come out in subsequent releases. As a side note, we'd be remiss not to mention that today's game update.
Okay, well, I don't need to play the final bit of that because we already know.
We done been new.
But yeah, new Fractal came out as well this past week, so if you haven't checked that out, go and check that out as well. I'm not going to play the combat one because it's very long, and also it's just like we can just talk about that. Oops, that's weird. But yeah, Fractals. Strike missions, we're getting them. I mean, there's not really much for me to say about that, I guess, in addition.
That's good.
It is good. We're going to jump over to Combat and Guild Wars 2, though. And what they did talk about was, unless anyone wanted to talk
missions, about... Yeah, is the 2 strike missions on release?
Yes.
Okay.
But not the hard
modes. That means that there are at least 2 interesting fights in the story.
At least 2.
At least 2. Excellent. Okay, so moving on to the combat changes, we are witnessing them right now. It's to the 2nd of July, and it started yesterday on Thursday, actually. So it's a bit of a chunky beta for Guild Wars 2, I guess. Not bad. You create a new character. You can't use it on your old characters. You've got 3 character slots you've been given. You can pick your class, whatever, and you can use the weapons from your elite specialization on as much as you want. It doesn't matter. Like, you don't need the elite specialization to use the weapon. So if you are playing Scrapper Engineer, you can play a mace if you want.
And you can do that right now over the weekend because the beta's going on.
I'm glad that Boots listens.
Brava.
Literally said that. But like...
It's just an echo. It's just, you know, reinforcing. It's a reinforcement.
I'm World of Enders. I'm Ender's Echo. That's...
So for Guardian, for example, you now get to play Axe, Sword, and Longbow. And the sword is offhand on any of the specs. You can now play Shield. And you don't have to have it on just Herald. Because That was something which really vexed me, actually. And don't forget that this is a really, really good for the new player experience, because now they can use anything they want. Like, that's opened that up. Well, not anything, but like,
They have it.
You need to train it first.
Yeah.
But do you?
And have the expansion. You have,
Yes.
Yeah, you have to have the expansion.
They're still going to give you.
It says
there's
No,
not-
no. You
Is that
don't
what
need to
it's
have the
saying?
expansion. You don't need to have the expansion, but you do need to train the weapon.
Oh, I'm
that's
talking about
okay.
the.
The
Wait,
elite
wait a second.
specialization. The elite specializations are locked and their own thing. However,
Oh, but the weapon itself.
you can get the weapon without owning the elite spec.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh,
That's pretty
interesting.
damn awesome.
That's
That's
great,
new
yeah.
player options. But so imagine for engineers, like you didn't really have many options. Now you've got like sword and mace and all these other things, right? You can just get when you say
So
train.
long as you train them. We haven't gone through the training process. It made it, the way they spoke about it seems as if it's going to be something maybe in the training tab of your, like, you know, utilities, specializations. Maybe class trainers will be back. I don't know.
What
But
happens if you don't have this expansion?
I think they're just going to do it as you used to do it.
it'll be a core system. It's a core feature.
It's just a core
So
feature.
you'll still get them if you don't have this expansion.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
literally called core proficiencies, is how they
Yeah.
describe.
Wow.
So I don't
that's
think it's
interesting.
going to be a massive amount of there's not like when they say training. Where does that? Once you've unlocked weapon master training in Guild Wars 2. Okay.
But I believe it will be like account wide, maybe.
Okay.
So like if you make one guardian and then get the training on that one, make the other guardian from level 1, they'll be able to
Right,
use all
right.
of the abilities.
It
I'm
does-
imagining.
It
Because
does,
if it is a mastery, then that's what it would do, right?
it does say you have to have unlocked it in the expansion though for you to be able to use those. Oh no, wait, I'm going ahead of myself. Where am I?
What does?
This part here, it says once you've unlocked Weapon Master Training in Guild Wars 2 Secrets of the Obscure, you'll be able to use elite specialization weapons without the corresponding lineage equipped. So it is insinuating that you have to
But
do
no,
that
it's
in the
saying
expansion.
you have to unlock weapon master training.
Yeah, which is what that
Yeah.
is.
Right, but it's not saying you have to unlock the elite spec.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but it might be tied. I think it'd be a bad move if they just tied it to Secrets of the Expansion and didn't just make this a core system. But I don't know.
Yeah, the next sentence says this will be the case even if you haven't trained the elite specialization.
Yeah.
Which means that even if you don't own the other expansions,
still
you'll
use
able
the
to make the
weapons.
match weapons. elite
So even if you just
specialization.
enter the game with this, so there is something here where I'm
So
like,
you do have that, but it sounds like you do have to have this expansion
yeah,
because it's weapon master training in
weird.
Secrets of the Obscure. So it's not really a core feature; it's a core feature added with Secrets of the Obscure that you have
I
to
guess.
Yeah.
Oh no,
Yeah, which is
so you
not
have to
well
own
worded.
The expansion. Yeah, you have to own the expansion
Yeah.
in order to train weapons for the future as well and past.
Bornax is going to say something.
Sorry, that goes against what they said. So
Does.
they literally said that, like, for example, the Wizard's Vault,
Yeah.
which, sorry, I'm jumping ahead, but this is an example. They said you do not have to have the expansion to access the Wizard's Vault, but there are special rewards locked out of the Wizard's Vault if you don't own the expansion.
Yeah.
And it can't be a core proficiency if it's tied to an expansion.
Yeah.
Right.
Have they
But
said
If they're called, I don't know. I don't, but
I don't know.
oh god,
That is
Anyways.
confusing, but
Yeah,
it's right.
find out.
The language
We will
is-
find out
Yeah,
during
well,
the launch of the expansion, but regardless of that, we have weapons being unlocked to
Yeah,
all of the
Yes,
core
that's
professions.
cool.
And
Oh,
you
yeah,
can play it
you-
yesterday to Sunday.
And today.
Oh yeah, by
Yes.
the way, I don't know if you guys know this, but there is a beta going on over this weekend in which you could play all the elite specializations right now over this weekend.
Yeah.
The echo has returned.
Oh, the-
Yeah. Just making sure.
That's okay.
But-
no, you're good. It was the echo.
There's a
of an
siren
echo.
going by.
Woo, woo, woo. Sorry.
Fine.
it's all those hot takes. They're gonna
That's
nail
right.
it
Oh,
down.
That's
it's
right.
so hot. I think I'm running a fever. So
So we're
hot.
excited about like the fact that we're going to be able to. Okay. We're excited that we're going to be able to use these weapons in different builds. You know, we're all playing different
Yeah,
builds now.
it's in lieu of new elite specs, and they prepped us for that by making the important boons available to all the elite specs to make it so that we don't need new elite specs. And it is gonna be good, I think, but I think it's also gonna be good that they're gonna add new weapons on top of that. Because I think for an entire expansion, I think just the elite spec core weapons, the elite specs becoming core weapons is like it's good, but it's not quite enough for an entire expansion's worth of stuff. I think Kroof and I disagree on this a little bit.
Let me tell you here.
Okay.
Let me tell you in this.
But
moment.
I think it's nice that we're also getting new weapons, and I think that those two together will be enough to make me excited about everything.
Let me tell you, dear viewer.
Sorry.
I underestimated this so much.
I didn't underestimate this. I think
I thought it was going to be flop, but when I tell you it served hard. I have received so much enjoyment from this beta, from this update. I think going into it, I was like, was it really going to be that much of an expansion sell to just unlock the elite specialization weapons? Oh, mama. Oh, mama. The amount of, like, I feel like a new person logging into these beta characters and just seeing what kind of, like, machinations I can come up with in terms of builds. And it's a lot of fun. And I think the reason why they are spacing out the unlocking and then adding the new weapons later down the line in a quarterly update is because of the balance implication that this brings.
Sure.
We are already seeing some wild numbers on Tempest and Sword and Warhorn. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. They need it'll need to be balanced for sure. And I think maybe this beta weekend will help a little bit preemptively, hopefully.
Absolutely.
So we'll see about that. But that's on top of the giant balance patch that we got like 2 days ago. Them coming together at this time is making things a little bit unbalanced and maybe a few things a little buggy. But hopefully that all gets fixed up a little bit before the expansion launches. No, but I'm really excited about the elite. I will definitely I will probably have, weeks of playing with all the new combinations of weapons you have with the old elite specs. At least weeks, and with the new weapons, even more time. I think, and that's weeks straight. Like me not doing anything else.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, so I'm playing some footage in the background of me on Engineer, and the fun thing is with this is that there are, like what Kroof is saying, it really does open up a lot of stuff. So in for example, like the Scrapper line, there's this trait called Expert Examination where you stun or daze a foe and you apply weakness and vulnerability to them, which is 5 stacks. Now, not many people take that. When we did take it, there wasn't many abilities which would be useful for it. But if you play like Mace and Shield, you've got like two free stuns there on Scrapper. And it's like, whoa,
yeah,
it's pretty good. But the funny thing here is as well, like I'm seeing some interesting combinations. I've got my sword, and it's still very like Hollowsmith thematic as well. So it's kind of weird.
Sword has built into it, so that's an interesting little thing that you just have. If you want to add weakness to your build now, you could add the sword to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's loads.
Hammer Weaver. Hammer Weaver is so tanky.
I bet.
It is so tanky. I love it so very much.
Yeah, and I do like how they did think about a lot of the little things, like all the Weaver extra things that you would need, the extra abilities that you need for the hammer, for example. So you know how the middle skill for the hammer, when you switch things, you click it and it makes a little ball go around you. With Weaver, is very thematic. It's the exact same thing. But if you're in two different attunements as a Weaver, you click the button, you get both orbs going around you.
Two for the price of one.
Very good.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Someone said so go on. You might be going on to this.
They even thought about, Ranger Unleashed ambush abilities.
Oh,
you have it for staff, you have it for dagger. Dagger is a shadow step. The staff is such a phenomenal visual. And of course, we've just had an update with ally culling effects. And so, before this, they would have had to take a maybe bit of a lighter stroke with a lot of their animations and their effects. With this update, a lot of the new abilities and skills and animations that I've seen are very flashy and feel so 2023, to the point where I'm like, I hope they go back and update some of the older.
Oh, really? Interesting. That's cool.
I think some classes like this change more than others.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah, but there's definitely going to be some things that are going to be impossible to properly balance, though. I think even if like you reduce numbers or whatever, I think there's going to be some things that are going to be impossible to probably balance. For example, a daredevil with a rifle will never die.
No, you can.
I don't know about that.
Because you're not doing as much damage.
You're not doing quite as much damage. You're just more impossible to catch.
You're more mobile, and you can play at range. So
Yeah.
you have 1500 range. So I see what you're saying. But
yeah, but I mean that's something you could change. So yeah, the trade-off is that you're not going to be killing as many things as a normal Deadeye, but you know, it's interesting.
one profession I want to talk about more than any other profession is Revenant.
Oh yeah.
Because in the conversation of certain classes not getting as much out of this as others, I think Revenant is the poster child for that. Because weapons are great in terms of adding tools to professions, but the original concept of Revenant didn't even have weapon swap on the profession. So having that weapon swap is great in adding more abilities and more tools. We have the offhand shield, we have shortbow and greatsword. So we can use those weapons in different contexts to match them up with different elite specializations. But Revenant as an entire class doesn't leave a lot of room for customization or flexibility as the other professions do because of the legend system. I would love it if they unlock those legends on top of the weapons, because those utility skills are already so restricted and in a vacuum because you don't have any flexibility with it. So if they also opened up the legends for Revenant, that would be mind-blowing, but also I think would really allow Revenant to flourish in the way the other professions are with this system.
That is a lot, though.
That is a lot.
Because you don't.
Is it? Is it a lot?
It is. It is because you don't get the profession mechanics or the utility skills of all the elite specs of the other classes.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well.
But you already cannot mix and match utility skills with Revenant. You'd only really be missing out on those professional mechanics.
But it's the same thing as a Revenant has always only been able to do, right? It's like,
it's all they can do, which is why I think if they did ever, I'm not saying that they will, but if they ever wanted to consider it, I don't think it would be as terrible as maybe on other professions where you already have a whole bunch of utility skills to mix and match.
I don't know.
Can I ask a question? Someone said in chat that you can pick the skills on hammer on ranger. If you're running
yes.
If you're not an untamed.
If you're not an untamed. Okay. So I switch from that to soul based. Where do I pick the hammer options then?
That's really cool, actually. That like the being able to do that.
Where do you do it?
Is really interesting.
You right.
I think when you have the hammer.
Oh, you right click.
Yeah.
Oh, that is sick.
Imagine, I mean,
difference?
honestly, this itself could be the next expansion's feature.
I think this is a thing for the future, isn't it, as well? Like you say, like you just can, maybe they'll just start adding more options for weapons of what you can do.
Weapon master. If weapon master training makes it to the next expansion, you could talk to a weapon master and they say, hey, your greatsword now has a second set of abilities that you can mix and match together. That would be crazy.
Well, look at this. Like even just this second hammer ability. One is about barrier and cripple, and the other one is about damage. You've already got like that right there, and then the other one's wow.
So this ability for the hammer to do is extremely strong, especially for hammer, because hammer was designed to have certain abilities on your unleash and certain abilities on your non-unleash that work together by switching back and forth between unleash. Yeah. And if you're able to mix and match to set up the combos without having to go back and forth with unleash, it's very strong.
Absolutely.
So,
they're technically kind of there, but like having them as being selected, I really like that. That's going to be a lot of fun in PvP as well. Ooh, okay. Fornex, how are you feeling about all this? You've been a bit quiet.
I haven't even gotten into the game in the past 3 days. I've been editing.
Okay.
Also, I'm still mourning the loss of my. So don't talk to me.
The loss of your what?
Sorry, what?
My druid.
Oh, druid.
I'm hurt, dog. It's bad. I'm in mech jail. I'm having to learn how to mech.
Yeah, but loads of people are actually saying how like it's not that bad as they're getting used to it. It's pretty good. So,
I like the change to alacrity. I just think it should have been a longer duration. But
How do I keep up alacrity? That
no, I was watching Mark and other
then
people as well.
maybe put alacrity on the Glyph of Stars, the elite one. But
Just a quick interjection. Darkbringer brings up the fact that you can't mix and match.
you can mix and match. You can't flip over the entire bar when in combat. So Untamed still has the edge of having all of those two forms of the hammer accessible, which is why the Untamed still, kind of favors the hammer in a certain regard. But when you are just playing any other form
Yeah,
of
it's
ranger,
any other form.
yes, you
That's
can
what I'm saying.
kind of choose the skill that you want individually.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can mix and match.
You can when you're not untamed. If you are
right,
untamed, you
right.
still have those flop.
They keep their still
It didn't
mechanics. Yeah.
The hammer flop. No.
Yeah, no, I've definitely seen some complaints about the new druid, just about how low the alacrity thing is.
Is it a complaint that it's not as easy as it was before, or like?
The two complaints are that that number needs to be tuned, just the amount of alacrity you get, so that's just a little small thing. But I think the overarching one is that the direction that was taken for all the balance in this patch was try to take quickness and alacrity off of skills so that you don't have to just spam those skills off cooldown and attach it more to maybe a core mechanic of the class. And in some cases, like the druid, for example, I think the complaint is that the core mechanic of the class is supposed to be used for a specific thing, which is healing on demand. And if you're now having to spam those off cooldown, then you're not allowed to do the healing on demand anymore.
Yeah.
Which is rough.
I think it's healthy to have a mix of both, applying the boon via a profession mechanic, because it's something that you're always interacting with. But I also think that having certain boons on specific skills would actually really help out. The reason why it's a success story on something like Guardian on Firebrand is because it's integrated into the trait lines, the profession mechanics, but also on certain abilities. You have your quickness mantra skill, and you also have the elite quickness skill. And it's not like all mantras do that. So you're not just spamming all of your mantras, it's just these very particular utilities that you take to accomplish that role or accomplish that thing that needs to be met. So it's almost there. It just needs to maybe have like a glyph that is attributed to granting alacrity on top of profession mechanics as well.
Yeah. I mean, I spend most of my time playing support. I play support in raids. I play support in. I literally play support Firebrand and 1v1. And I'm just a bit salty because this is like entirely personal. I've just gotten into raiding. I'm just feeling comfortable doing tier 4 fractals on my druid with people who like to do the healer assist. And I just kind of got into my groove, and now I have to wrangle a giant robot. So I'm just having a week. Okay, that's what's happening here.
And I also am a little bit. I'm having trouble with the new Spectre changes that we were talking about before. Well, no, it's good. It's fine.
All right,
it's
well,
just my old play style is gone now.
That can
The
be-
one thing I don't like about Spectre is the constant blue circle that forms around allies now. I think that could have just been client side rather than
should we
invisible.
Maybe we can put that into another.
I guess
Yeah,
day.
that's fine.
Let's
That's
be
fine.
careful. What I wanted to
Chat,
talk about.
please give a hug to Boots. Big hugs in the chat for Boots and his dead build. Press F to pay respects.
But now Spectre has right now the Spectre has all the tools to be a good healing sport. It has all the interesting boons. It has everything. The only problem is the way to play it right now is very intricate and weird. So I just have to learn how to do that now.
I think they put alacrity. I don't know why they got rid of quickness on Endless Night. I think that's what the ability's called for the Scepter Pistol 3. They made it vigor. I don't know why they just didn't make that alacrity. And then maybe put Well of Bounty alacrity as well.
Which one? Sorry.
the dual skill where you shoot the beam at someone. It used to provide.
Oh
quickness.
yeah, it used to be quickness. Yeah,
They did it vigor, and I'm like, why not just make that alacrity? It's the boon that's associated with the spec.
It's because now you get the everybody next to your target, if you're ally targeting, gets the boon.
Yeah. Why not just do alacrity?
Oh, I guess
Instead of quickness.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe we can maybe we can talk about that another time because I really want to push on because we do not have that much time. I was just showing off Reaper with you can play Reaper with a pistol now on Necro, just as another example. Okay, so we are going to jump into because there's just a lot, and I want to get through most of it. We have new rune now. The rune rework is very interesting. I love this because they're introducing something called Relics, and Relic is going to be basically where you store that 5th or the 6th, whatever, I can't remember, is it 6? Yeah, 6th slot item from the rune slot, right? Yes, and they've given us some examples here. So if you think about, maybe it's an overall stat increase, or the actual example they've given is the Trooper's effect from the Trooper rune will now be inside a new item, which is called a Relic, which you unlock from level 60, which is interesting. So that's a core game thing, I guess, as well.
Yeah.
I'm assuming. So it's interesting that is not specific to. Oh, wait a minute.
Well, of course, it has to be not specific to.
That's what I would have thought.
It changes the whole game.
The exclusivity is the fact that you will get extra ones if you have the expansion. So there will be expansion exclusive relics as well. Okay, so I mean, how do we feel about that? The rune changes and differences. We like that. We got a relic and we have to unlock new things. I know, obviously, there are legendary rune people who are wondering what they're going to be compensated with. They're still going to have legendary runes. I don't have
legendary runes yet, so I don't care.
I am unaffected. I like my legendary runes.
Rune just lost 1,000 subscribers.
Ruby posted something saying that people who have legendary runes will be compensated in some way.
They did, yeah.
We'll have to see how that is. Hopefully, I think they're like 300 gold each legendary rune, so it's not a little thing to drop. It's an investment to get legendary runes.
Yeah.
But how do I feel about it? I think it could be good for the game. I think there's good sides to it and bad sides to it.
Mm-hmm.
One of the good sides is that it'll make the rune system probably a lot less complicated for people, which I think is one of the problems. I mean, it's not a problem for me. I like it the way it is right now, but for a lot of people, I think is a too complicated system, and so that's one bonus. Another good thing is by having this new thing called Relics, and I'm guessing they're going to be making new relics as the game goes on, and they said they're going to be adding them as rewards to fractals, blah 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 blah. Right now, runes are ubiquitous in the game. You could buy runes off the trading post or craft them really easily. They're easy to get. They're not a reward. Making relics into a reward is something the game also kind of needs. Some gameplay specific reward that you could make people want to get in the game.
Technically, they have done that because they're not all runes you can buy, right? Because there are moons from dungeons that you have to get. So they did have that system in originally. Like if you're a healer, you have to get monks runes that way.
Yes, from the dungeon. That's true. But they also made it so you could do any dungeon in order to get them. So it's it's like so that's the good things. One of the bad things, I guess, is that now the legendary runes don't mean much. But hopefully that'll be taken care of with the compensation. In my opinion, one of the downsides is runes themselves. I don't know if they're needed anymore at all. Like I don't know if that's a downside. Runes. I don't know if that's really a downside. I think you could just delete them from the game now, runes, and just have relics, because the game has already been power creeping a lot over the years, and the stats that runes will provide, if they're only going to provide stats, can either be baked into armor as they are already, or can just be removed, and hopefully that reduces the power level of things a little bit to what it is right now.
So in PvP, you pick a thing as well. You just pick
a relic instead of a
relic.
rune.
Yeah, and then your amulet's going to be.
You do need to.
You would have something else to be able to customize a little bit. Oh, but Fornax disagrees.
Yeah. Go.
So one of the things that I really love is the customization ability and the specificity that you can have with your build.
Can't you do that if you just have different armor pieces?
So it's something that I played World of Warcraft. I play World of Warcraft. I played World of Warcraft for a donkey's years. They have these tier rune sets built in, and it is a ball ache to have to go and farm this specific thing. Especially now, it's worse in World of Warcraft because it's tied to a boss. So you go to a boss, you have to get the thing off the boss. It's only that boss, and you are subject to the whims of the RNG god. That one of the best things about
RNG though, at least.
No.
Hopefully.
Well, I mean, it depends because they've taken away the one of the fun parts of it. They've taken away the last tier bonus, which is 90% of the time why you've got the goddamn thing in the first place. And they're putting that into RNG with dungeons and with bosses and with this, that, and the other. So it could be. We don't know how much RNG is involved. But one of the things I like best about it is the fact that you can have such specificity and such variety of choice rather than it being an RNG. The game's going to give you what you're going to give, and if you want to get this, you're going to grind your face off. Enjoy. So I'm not. I can understand why they're doing it. I want them to keep the rune sets so that I can choose the stats that I want on my armor, and I hope that the people who I've got friends who got all their runes and they're having a bit of an existential crisis at the moment.
I like the idea that you can have I do like the relic idea because I like the idea that there are some things where basically you can just res someone quicker, for example, and that's just a relic. Like that being a relic, and you could still run damage runes as well. I like that idea, like having that as something. But I get what you're saying as well, Boots, because I've got a sneaking suspicion that's what they're gonna do. I do have that sneaking suspicion.
I would be interested to see if they ever, maybe in a new expansion, allow you to have 2 relics.
Boots. Boots.
We were just talking about power creep, Boots.
I know,
right?
That's when they delete runes.
That's when they delete the game. And then they're just just do what you want.
I think we could be getting the thing that you have wanted for a very long
time. Guild Wars 2 in space?
Pigs in space.
What?
No, I think
that's a bit of a jump from runes, but okay, sure.
What if they combine the relics with the capture rune? Having the tier things on the bosses.
That's what I was going to say. Isn't that
it might not be RNG. Yeah, it might not be.
That could be fun.
This is what I was going to say. I think it was the idea that you want. This is what a couple of you wanted, wasn't it? Essentially, that's probably what they could do. Hopefully.
And you know what? It would appease me because it's not like a core elite specialization system. It's just a nice little relic with one effect or one augmenting, condition. So I think that would be a lot of fun. I didn't even think that it was going to be RNG. In my mind, it would be something attached to a currency. Yeah. Maybe the Wizard's Vault, or for with strike missions, are we going to get a new type of crystal for strike missions?
Or rifts.
Or rifts too. I mean, oftentimes runes would also be purchasable through vendors or just the trading post. So I wonder if relics will also be purchasable off of the trading post.
If there was a relic craft proficiency.
Scribes,
maybe, yeah, like something like that. Adding it to, I would actually like that if there was a market for it specifically. Like you had these crafters that can make relics.
With the first, cool. Darkbringer linked us something. With the first release on August 22nd, the 6th tier of each rune will instead complete the stat bonuses associated with that rune set.
Yeah, so they're going to just have an overall
effects or
yes.
Are they just going to add a stat there then?
But I feel like there are also already runes that kind of have that, where the 6th tier will be like plus 120 power and the effect as well.
So they're going to give you even more damage.
It's just more
so they're giving
I don't know if they need.
damage.
I genuinely don't think they need to do that. But that's just me. I think relics. Relics, I think, are a very interesting and fun, potentially extremely fun system because it adds even more flexibility with your build. You can choose the runes with the certain stats that you want, but then choose a specific effect to tailor it to whatever role you're playing. I was confused about this system at first, but the more I've learned about it and the more I've had time to sit with it and settle, I'm actually really excited about it.
I do have a question about this though, because in a lot of rune sets, there aren't just 6-tier bonuses. There are 2nd and 4th tier bonuses that sometimes have interesting effects as well.
They'll still have those in there.
Are those remaining on the runes, or are they going to be baked into the relics?
I mean, I think they'll just remain.
Well, define like what's an example of like a rune that has like an interesting 3rd tier.
Go into PvP.
It's usually just like added stats or like plus 10% poison duration.
Yeah, it's poison duration.
Like all that stuff I think will still stand because it has at least something to do with the idea of stats or like tailoring. Yeah, maybe like
it's still got something to do with the actual build. Rune set as well. Like I don't think it's although if you think about it, it does mean potentially that you could match up different runes. So if you just want the stats from different runes, you could have three of one and 3 of another.
Yeah, that's true.
So you could go with 2, 2, and 2 as well, because we used to have that. There were people there was in not World v World, but there were people who used to run 3 and 3. Sometimes when the end stat wasn't
we can go back to the 4 and 2 if those 4th level and 2nd level things go back. Do that. We could go back to running 4 and 2.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't think about that. That could be quite cool, actually. That would open up things even more buildcraft. And the thing I was thinking about, which is very interesting, is that there is so much combat change being added with this expansion that there is almost not the 4 of elite specializations. But I think Boots might counter me with that, because I think you maybe think that you're worried about there not being elite specializations. I'm not sure.
I'm not worried.
You're not worried? Was this someone else?
No,
Maybe it's someone in my chat.
I'm terrified.
It's a year. Like we're gonna have another expansion a year from now. After this, I definitely didn't expect to get elite specializations every year. You said that would be crazy.
Yeah.
You didn't? I did. I expected the world. They have endless funds and endless time, and crunch is just another normal part of any profession, really. So, elite specs every year. I'm just kidding.
It's going to be fun. Okay, so expanded weapon proficiency. Let's jump over to that very quickly as well, because we've got new weapons being announced for each class as well. So Guardian's going to get a main and offhand pistol. So you're going to get like a dueling pistol Guardian. I don't even know. Revenant is going to get scepter. Warrior is going to get staff, and everyone cries in joy. Engineer is going to get short bow, which I really am very interested about how that's going to work. And I was talking about people on my channel with that.
It's so weird, actually, that every time engineers mentioned, you're very interested in that.
I mean, it is very specific, but it's mostly because it's my main class, right? Like everyone doesn't, obviously.
Well, I'm happy for you, Jebro.
I mean, well, I was thinking, if you've seen the Green Arrow and you know who the Green Arrow is, like, is a DC superhero. They have like loads of different kind of types of arrows, like explosive arrows and net arrows and stuff like that. And I'm like, ooh, someone suggested that on my video the other day, and I was like, that sounds sick.
That's a good point. And if you're a mechanist, you're green themed, so Green Arrow.
I'm definitely thinking like highly tacky arrows and Hawkeye and all that stuff.
I'm really I'm interested in that a lot. Ranger mace, main and offhand again. Thief is going to get axe main hand. Yeah, no, the mace action, I don't know. Elementalist, that might be quite good for like, I don't know. Elementalist is going to get pistol, and I'm like, what? This is wild. That's okay. Mesmer is getting rifle, and like Necromancer, sword, main, and offhand. Like that tracks. That's not like really wild.
I like Elementalist pistol.
It needs to be studied. It
needs to be what?
It needs to be studied. The seemingly always skirting around Elementalist and Mesmer archetypes of like short bow, long bow, pistol, Mesmer, even rifle Ellie. I actually like pistol and rifle, but if they were just swapped between the classes, I think it would have been a little bit better. I would have liked it a bit more because
What, a rifle
pistol
elementalist?
mesmer. I feel like that theme has always been like.
Oh,
talked
pistol
about.
offhand you wanted for the mesmer.
No, pistol main hand for
Main
mesmer.
hand.
Main hand. Right.
Pistol mesmer, and like
yeah, that would be good.
elementalist, we have like another form of long range with elementalist is still missing. We only have staff.
The issue is elementalist is already pretty good at. Well, I mean, Weaver, at doing long-ranged attacks with the. I think having an additional 20 skills plus anything you do with the Weaver, giving them a rifle would be crazy. Giving them a rifle or a longbow with all the extra skills, longbow would be a lot of skills. I think pistol's gonna be fine.
It'd be the
it
same
is.
amount that you. Well, it would reduce the 2 final ones, but you'd still have to account for
You'll have
Weaver.
to do it
even
at
with
some point.
with main hand pistol, you have to account for the Weaver abilities anyways. I think that's kind of just like a
8 less skills.
and they don't have to make them so bespoke as say like sword was. But
Yeah,
I also
yeah.
saw with the hammer, it was just the orbs.
Elementalist pistol being I like Elementalist only getting a main hand weapon because then you could combo it with your choice of offhand weapon.
I mean,
So
they could still do that with main hand offhand pistol. I like pistol. I just would have given it rifle instead.
Okay, anyway, this is what we're getting, so you ain't got a choice. Don't matter what you want. This is what we're getting. God damn it.
The people who get it, and the people who don't. And that's okay.
We'll have to wait and see in the future. Are you excited as a ranger, potentially maybe getting in a mace, maybe, Onyx? If you can't see the video, then Vornex has pulled out the clock. Not sure about that one. Yeah, mace is a bit of a.
No.
It's interesting because mace for engineer I really enjoy. Like it's very good, but like I'm not sure what it's going to do on a ranger. I guess like it could be quite cool with druid, depending on if it's got like a blast and you play it like with staff. I don't know. Be interesting.
I don't know. I'm concerned about the class fantasy stuff here. I mean, I don't understand how they're going to thematically. I'm a story person. I come at it for that. I come at it as a kind of a living thing, and I don't understand how being an elementalist and wielding a gun is kind of married together. It's not doing anything for me.
It's very interesting.
I wouldn't mind a shield because we have that.
Yeah, I would like.
We
that
have
as
that
well.
ethos
For
in
ranger, yeah.
For ranger or is it for Ellie? For ranger.
For elementalist.
Yeah,
I feel like
okay.
a shield would make elementalist actually kind of not happy. Just having an offhand weapon when you have Weaver that he could use.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm coming at you're coming at it as a mechanical.
Yeah,
I'm coming at it from the story elements of it.
Yeah,
Right,
because
right.
we have the kind of the earthy the elements going on, so we could theme it into being a tank or being that tank support. I
Yeah.
like that idea, but a mace does nothing for me. I mean, I know I'm Demi, but God, I'm not dead. It's doing nothing for me. Okay.
Yeah, I was also kind of like, I just don't know how it's going to be differentiated from something like Hammer, where
Right.
I expect to go down the line of Mace just being a lot of crowd control abilities like stuns and dazes. It could be a bit more condition focused, but with like thorns or dust, earth particles, who knows? It could be a little bit more Condi focused in line with something like Revenant main hand mace. But yeah, thematically, I would have given it maybe a shield or even a rifle to ranger. We've only had the staff for like a long range weapon for ranger, and that was supportive. And we've only ever had the longbow as an option. So I would have maybe liked rifle actually for ranger.
Maybe the double mace turns you into like a bard ranger where you have a drum and you're just
You take a page out of the oh my god, I play this game, trust me. What are they called? The dredge. You take a page out of the dredge's book and you just use it as a percussion weapon.
there you go.
I mean, have you seen the picture I just put up? I mean, come on. It's Gandalf with a rifle. I mean, that's pretty cool. Just like, have you seen that?
But Gandalf ain't getting a rifle. He's getting a pistol.
He's
people,
getting a
okay?
pistol, it's true.
Okay.
But like,
You need to remove me from the art of this podcast now. I'm stepping. This is it for me.
I know it might have been upsetting for Fornex. I'm sorry about that. But also, I mean, there's also a game called Wizard with a Gun, which is very, very good. But the thing is, if you think about
On the pistol topic,
yeah.
Guardian?
Oh yeah, it's weird. It's a little weird.
That I find
Double pistol
weirder.
guardian.
I actually find that more odd than the Elementalist.
Yeah. Because
What in
Elementalist, the gunslinger is a trope in certain things.
Like, you can-
so,
yeah,
I mean,
sure,
sorry, not
yeah.
gunslinger, spellslinger, which is a gunslinger with spells. But yeah, double pistol guardian. You're shooting holy bullets.
I mean,
I would have even preferred dagger or warhorn or short bow or honestly anything other than pistol. But I will say
It could be fun though.
the saving grace. The what?
Beer?
Spear.
Spear,
like
main hand spear.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Yes. No, spear
said spear too.
and shield, like the old
Paragons.
school Paragon. Yes, exactly. Got the blue bloody wings. Yeah.
Thematically, I have that reaction, but I know they could still do a lot of fun stuff with the actual abilities because it's magical. You can do whatever you want with it. I would love to see like maybe ally target bullets where you just like shoot people and you heal them.
Done.
Or
I'm sold.
I wonder what the symbol's going to be because it's main hand and offhand. That's another saving grace that the Guardian is getting, is that they're getting
One of the
main hand
skills is
weapon
called
and an
saving
offhand.
grace.
Yeah.
Oh, so hire me, balanced team. I got you.
During
with naming
COVID,
conventions.
they used the water guns. Priests used water guns.
Where are you finding what are you looking up? Are you looking up
Is this?
priests with guns?
They used water guns to do fit, for the blessings and stuff. I'm just saying, they're it's just an interesting idea. I was just, because I'm very good at just typing in random stuff in Google and going out of images sometimes. I mean, there are many, many, many people in different. So in Judge Dredd, for example, there was the law is very very much mixed with religion as well, and guns are a big theme, and tech. So
America.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Judge Dredd is fantasy, but it's the idea of the two coming together, like the unholy with the holy, if that makes sense, almost to a degree.
Bullets, they can make someone really holy. So
Holy bullets, I mean, bullets being blessed, versus vampires and stuff in some lore and
the
stuff.
fact no one laughed at that. Chat, help me out.
Sorry.
I have a serious question though.
Oh
Crew.
no.
Crew, when you were
Yes.
celebrating and you were smacking someone's ass, I want to know which dev you were picturing with the ass smacking. Because I saw it.
Wait, what's happening there?
That's a very personal question.
You were like,
Why did we go to the
hire
ass
me as a
smacking?
dev, and you were like doing the. You were doing the. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, that one.
Abraham Lincoln. I don't know where we're going. What is happening?
Confused.
Okay. I take it back. I rescind the ass smacking. Nobody's getting their bottom smacked at ANET this week. I'm
Did I
sorry, guys.
tweet something?
I tried. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna let's go through the rest of the comments. Anyway, there's loads of stuff. There is the beta weekend going right now for weapon mastery training. Weapon master
Wait, is there
training.
a beta weekend going on this weekend
is
for
this
beta
weekend.
master training?
But not for the
my
new
God.
weapons, just FYI people. So if you do watch this on Saturday, when it comes out, you'll have a couple of days left for you to play the other weapons that come with your elite specializations on your other specs. So get involved with that. We do have another big
Yes, really,
podcast
really.
to go for. And it's a lot, right? With time wise, I'm just wondering whether or not
Yeah,
I
we
might not
gotta.
chuck out the audio for this. We had the audio for the first podcast. Obviously,
Yeah.
Really Geek as well. Thank you for doing an awesome job with that. We really appreciate it. But yeah, we're just going to mention bits and bobs because we've already gone for a long time today. And this is also going to be a big wad of stuff. The rewards, Guild Wars 2 Secrets of the Obscure. There's the Wizard's Vault, Ooh, and what is it?
Battle
Herald-
Pass, but better.
Yeah. So it's you guys were like all on board with the battle pass, and I was like, I don't know, I never really interact with battle passes. Now we're getting a battle pass, but one that you don't have to pay for, and
I
that
don't know if
you
it
get,
is.
and that's still in the game even if you don't complete it on time.
The
It's
only
great.
reason why I say Battle Pass is because of how you acquire
True.
the currency to purchase what you want. It's going to be tied to dailies, weeklies, and other side objectives and/or special, events that might pop up every once in a while. So in the sentiment of current MMORPG culture and gaming culture, the closest thing that I can ever think of with this is like a battle pass, because it's not just you're playing the game at any point, you're getting gold or anything. It's like these very specific objectives that you have to complete in order to acquire this currency.
So this is like a good battle pass.
Yeah. And
A
You can
battle
play
pass
whatever you
without
want,
downsides.
and you can play whatever you want. That's what they're saying, which is really, really good. So like you can just play. If you fancy playing World v World that day, like in the dailies and whatnot, they're going to count towards this, it sounds like. But I wonder if it's other gameplay, not just the dailies and weeklies, I'm hoping count towards this. It must be other stuff as well, right?
I'm excited for because they had mentioned, I believe, quarterly objectives also may be tied to the quarterly releases. And I hope this is also an opportunity for them to overhaul dailies and weeklies and add new ones and more exciting ones to really get players out and doing other maps and going after other events or world bosses. So I'm excited.
This is actually like a rare occasion where they've copied something from World of Warcraft and made it better. So World of Warcraft has this vault where you go in, you do weekly stuff. The harder the weekly stuff you do, the more stuff you get in the vault. But because it's tied to RNG, and because it's tied to their loot progression system, which is, again, RNG, it makes it it's either the highest high or the lowest low. But this is just pure win because it's all, it never goes away. And it's not tied to progression. It's just an enjoyable way to get new rewards. So I think that this is great for new players, great for old players smashing. And yeah, that's the skin that I'm in love with. That's beautiful.
That's nice. And as Angel Rider says, monthly objectives are kind of back with this.
Yeah, in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
potentially stretched to quarterly. So
I mean, this is the new currency is called Astral Claim. There you go. The new account wide currency as well. So that's what you're going to be using it for the switching rewards. It says a small selection of items previously exclusive to the gem store as well are going to be available, as well as crafting materials, gold, mystic coins. They're Fornax's favorite. Legendary crafter starter kits is an interesting one, which I saw there. So this is actually gonna kind of help a lot of new players, get you on your way, basically. So I'm wondering, just a bunch of those mats you need, maybe, which is cool. And if it's not to get you on your way, just to, and so it's gonna give you that real big incentive to get in there as well, and do this. That's really good, because legendaries are the biggest incentive for a lot of people to to grind for, essentially. That is the grind in Guild Wars 2. That's really the only grind. Okay, what else is there? But yeah, there's going to be exclusive rewards if you own the expansion, and if you don't, like we've said before, it does mean you can still own some of the rewards. All accounts for the level. Okay, cool.
Is a great way to still incentivize purchasing the most modern product of an expansion. I wonder if they'd ever go back and do exclusive, you can only get this if you have Path of Fire or Heart of Thorns, maybe a Mordrum Raptor skin or something like that. I think that'd be really cool. But it's a way to incentivize the expansion itself rather than this arbitrary limited time battle pass from what we currently know what battle passes are.
I think it will stabilize player populations.
Yeah,
I think it will over the long period, which I think is a benefit to all players who enjoy populated maps.
How does one get the idea that this would be a battle pass? Well, no, I think what we're saying, or what Krufa's saying, is it's equivalent to. So battle passes, you have to do, you have to really, you don't grind for it, but you play the game you want to get rewards.
The way
but this is, you pick more, you get a bit more of a choice. So it's more you're grinding towards some rewards that you want.
It's a battle pass with no downsides.
And there is still some exclusivity based upon expansion ownership.
Yes.
So it's very, very light. There's no direct monetization with this system at all. You can't purchase anything in the in-game store to gain more currency or bypass any, like, whatever you might need to bypass. I don't think there is anything to bypass, but there's a very subtle exclusivity with expansions, but it's more so in the way that you acquire this currency in order to generate those funds to then purchase the items that you want to purchase.
So I will say that the chat is saying that they dislike FOMO. There's no FOMO. So you have all the items for for 1 month, 1 quarter. They go into a vault, and you can get them forever. This is evergreen content. So there's no FOMO here. And also, Riley, you can still craft the season 1, but you can totally do it.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, just answering chat.
No, that's absolutely fine. Like, it's a good thing, because I think a lot of the time battle pass FOMO is real. It's very hard. Like an ESO, for example, is really bad with their event kind of items that you can only get for a certain period of time, and it's like it's really tiring to just log in and do specific things for it, and it's just like, I don't want to do this. But I like the skin, and with this, it's like, I can just do it at my own leisure. Like, I can play the things, and I'll probably do it by accident over a long period of time. And it'll probably just be more surprising to me than anything, unless I really want something and I'm going to go for it.
To be honest, though, to be fair, it is less like a battle pass than it is just like what we already have in game, a reward track, but it's a more intricate reward track.
Yeah, I mean, that's what a battle pass is, though, a reward track. That's what kind of what they are anyway.
In a way. And it seems mostly based around cosmetics rather than like gear itself.
Yeah.
There, of course, are crafting.
I think the crafting materials, but that you get in many battle passes anyway.
A new source of mystic coins, though, for people who are crafting legendaries, especially. But I mean, you need 250 basically plus for any legendary that you're doing. That is a small fortune. So any other source of those is very welcome.
So I guess where this differs from our reward tracks that we currently have and leans more towards the battle pass side of it is, well, Pennzoil says battle pass is constant repetition with a season reset, is that these do have seasonal aspects to it. A new one comes every season, I think, right?
Every quarter there will be new items that are marketed and highlighted in the main Wizard's Vault, but once again, any of those older items will be shifted to the Legacy Vault for you to go and purchase at any time.
Right, so it's kind of like a new track every quarter.
Yeah, but it might not be that you have, like, it's not going to be like you progress and you get through. You can just select what you want. So I get what some people are saying. It's not similar to a battle pass, but we're talking about in terms of earning currency. Like, you get a selection. So it's actually probably better than a battle pass, because you actually get the things you want rather than, you just kind of burn through this thing. And so
it's more a la carte than it is kind of like conveyor belt.
We're going to pop over to the new adventure, new looks for new legendary armor. This is a bit of a hot topic with some people as well. But new legendary armor as well. So, and it's going to be overland. It's going to be open world PvP. PvE, new mode. PvE, you're going to be able to get it from open world gameplay in Guild Wars 2 Secrets of the Obscure. Has anyone counted how many times they say that in the article? Like,
take a shot every time and you'll find out.
It's just, oh my god, I'll be wrecked. I don't even really drink anymore, but like, bloody hell.
I'll be fine. What? That was easy.
So there it is.
Maybe in my heyday.
Heavy armor.
It looks very good. Also, the medium armor looks good.
Medium armor. Light armor.
It's okay.
Personally speaking.
They got a crown again. I'm the obsession with crowns is a thing for the light armor. I'm like, do they need crowns? Should I tell you what I'm really happy about? Medium armor doesn't have a flipping trench coat. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted.
Yeah.
Like, you know, yeah.
It doesn't have it in the World versus World and PvP ones either, does it?
I
don't think
no.
so.
And Smudgem brings this up in chat. The light armor looks a bit too much like the gem aura outfit. I also had the same impression just from like a silhouette perspective.
Oh, yeah, true.
The silhouette of what is shown in the concept art. Of course, we don't know if it's going to transform in any way or any other particle effects that might be tied to this.
Absolutely.
But just from what we see, I also got that impression. It's like, oh, this is very similar to an outfit that you can already purchase.
They all
Yukon
are
says,
similar to some of them.
Kind of like the first
little bit.
legendary armor we got. When you get into combat, a trench boot pops out of the
Yeah.
out of the medium armor.
They would do that just to troll medium like gear wearers and medium wardrobe wearers. It's just like, yeah. I can imagine that being a fun thing. On April Fools, they just add it. They just change the medium chest piece into a trench coat. Oh god, that
But
would
the
be
heavy armor gives me like classic paladin.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm just so excited to play that on a Guardian. The medium armor, a very stealthy, deadly rogue. I think that those are just great.
I would like to see how a lot of these things look on different races. Like the heavy armor
That's
might
it,
look
right?
a little bit less impressive on an Asura.
I'm gonna give Fornax's moment in the sun here as well, having mentioned that this is similar to something else that's already been in the game already, or in the previous game.
Oh yeah, so so in the original game, there's a place called the Fissure of Woe, which is where the nightmares are and where Menzies is, and it's also in the original game where you get the original obsidian armors, and I feel like that these might be an inspired by type. Now, as you can see, they're a bit basic. They're a bit Minecraft, the MMO, because it's like 2005 this stuff was in.
Yeah,
but I like the fact that they're not forgetting their roots in this expansion. I like the fact that there's nods backwards, and I feel like there's some, especially with the medium armor, which I think is tier. I think that's the best looking medium armor I've seen in this game. I think that they've taken some inspiration from the ninja. The thieves that they had.
And the Elementalist, actually.
The assassins.
Elementalist one looks like medium, actually. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, absolutely. Assassin, Obsidian. I think I had... No, I didn't have any of this.
I definitely
The Ritualist.
I mean, I will say,
good.
to get this in the original game, you had to actually go into the dungeon, vanquish the raid, to get to the person who sold the medium armor, to all of the armor. So I hope that we don't have to do that in order to interact with the vendor for this stuff. That would be.
I'm sure
that
you'll
would
have
be
to
a bit
kill
of a ball
something.
ache.
You'll probably have to complete the entire story, at least.
Oh gosh, I would hope so.
And
I'd hope so
probably
as
do
well.
strikes, I'm guessing.
For this armor?
Yeah.
I mean, it's legendary
I don't
armor.
think that
You
this will
still
be.
have to-
I don't think this will have any ties to strike missions.
No, you don't
or
think so?
raids.
Oh, you might be right, because they said it's open world,
They
right?
said open world, so I
Open
get the
world,
impression
yeah.
that
That's true,
it's going
actually.
to be entirely based on solo, potential solo play. Of course, you're playing with people as you play.
But does that still
but-
include the instant story?
I think it should.
Yeah, because the instant story is mostly manageable by yourself in I'd say
yeah.
I guess
many
it's not
circumstances.
technically open world, though, is it?
No, no.
What do you mean?
It's not
Well,
technically open
the
world.
story
it's
is instant, so it's not technically open world.
No, but you'll probably have to go and do stuff in the open world maps.
I don't know.
Why wouldn't you?
Oh no, open world you do, yeah, absolutely.
Do you
but
think
not
that-
the story.
Oh no, it's not going to be story exclusive legendary armor. This is
No, open as in open world, like only open world.
I don't think we have to debate
oh,
Yes, we
I see what
do.
you're saying.
this.
Well,
It's fun.
we'll find out. We'll find out.
I think they said it was PvE. That's how
Well, no, they said
kind
open
of...
world. It says in open world in the actual blog post. That's what it says.
And maybe there are elements that, you can get materials
Sorry, almost
in other circumstances that are outside of story missions. But
Okay,
And
let me
the
see.
prize for the High Lord pedant goes to Jebro. No, I mean, how about we put our money where our mouth is? Bets. Come on, guys.
How much
wasn't
gold?
it in End of Dragons originally you were supposed to finish over the elite spec weapons? You'd have to finish the story on every single character or every single profession. That was a bit much, but anyways, yeah. How much? Sorry, my brain is going.
10 gold?
I don't know. I'm crafting legendary, so I'm poor. So 5 gold is my
Let's just do
absolute
5 gold
limit.
each. It's not a big deal. Okay, so what is
The
this?
price is right.
5 gold for what? Say that it's all just open world PvP, or it's a mix? Is there 2 options? Or is there
I think it'll be
legendary armor. What are we talking about?
legendary
Yes,
armor?
Struggling.
to be able to craft the legendary armor, this PvE legendary armor, I think it will be a mix of story and open world and a load of achievements.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
And
obviously,
collections.
There's definitely going to be achievements in the collections
I'm
for
gonna say
sure.
the collection only unlocks once you've beaten the story in the expansion.
I think it's just going to be open world. It's going to be available as soon as you step in the expansion, because that's what it should be.
Well, they already said it's not, right? They said you could start working on it, but you can't complete it until later
the
on.
other updates.
Yeah.
So I imagine there is a connection to the story.
Yeah, but the other they could just be the new map. Maybe there's only something available to do on that map as well.
I would just like to point out that Jebro, at the beginning of this argument, you started by saying, "Oh, I think some of it's going to be in the story."
I did say that, yeah.
And now you're arguing against that right now.
No, I'm against it now because I like to change my mind in a very short period of time, because I am all about being convinced, and I convinced myself.
Maybe you get the first, very much like raids, you'll get your first set of open world legendary armor by completing the story. You get the ascended version, and then you unlock the collection to start doing the legendary stuff.
Mm-hmm. How do we actually feel about this as we start to maybe wind down a bit?
Oh yeah.
How do we actually feel about the fact that people are going to be able to get legendary armor in what we assume will be an easier way?
I love it. Honestly, I couldn't care less how people acquire their legendary armor.
Absolutely
I think it will do nothing but improve everyone's experience with the game, make it easier to form up parties.
Interesting.
I think the argument I saw that has merit to it is that the legendary armor only being available in the raids and then world versus world and PvP encourages people to try out those things, and not having to do that anymore would get people to not try out those things. And I think that has merit to it, but at the same time, we're 10 years down the line in this game, and if 80% of the population doesn't have legendary armor because they haven't tried those things yet,
they're not going to
never
try them.
try those things.
Exactly, they're just not going to, because people value their time.
Yeah, and it's possible that getting legendary armor through other means will give them more confidence in order to try out different things with builds that they would not be able to.
That's a very good point. It's like an introduction to legendary armor, right? And if they really want the looks that much, they can just go and try and do the other stuff. And I agree with you. And also, I think I saw there was on Twitter and other people were talking about, well, people now aren't going to try raids as much. And I'm like, people aren't really trying raids that much anyway. For legendary gear, there's not that many people even in the mode. That's why they stopped making raids. Nothing's gonna get people in there extra, other than if you start throwing extra skins in there for mounts and stuff.
Or an LFG system.
Though that's the issue with raid. It's not the raid. It's not the legendary gear. It's got nothing to do with it. And you can get it in PvP and World v World anyway. More people are getting it in PvP and World v World at the moment. And also you can get it in really easily in those modes. And PvP community is low population right now. World v World is probably the place where most people get their legendaries right now, I would say. Honestly. But yeah, I mean, I really like it. I think it's a really good access part of the game. And this is giving everyone access to legendaries across the board. Wherever you play now, you are going to be able to get legendary armor. You're going to be able to work towards it, even just passively, which is, I think, really, really cool. And it looks great as well. So, you know,
I agree.
added bonus.
There's now near parity across all the game types. I think the only thing that's left for open world people is the fact that they don't have a legendary back.
Oh yeah, that's true. The back piece. I mean, maybe that
maybe
could be
2020, 24.
I mean,
maybe
maybe that starts to come out a lot more. True.
Yeah.
And I think people shouldn't actually get their knickers too much in a twist about this, because it is only about the utility. There's nothing.
Power
If you've got
either.
ascended armor, It's the equivalent. So it's just the frilly knickers. It's just the ease of use. Yeah. And the pretty
Some people
Yeah, some people get super keen about it. I was just like,
Some people are wild. They need to touch grass.
Yeah,
Y'all, these are digital
grass.
pixels on a character's body. We can chill out a little bit. It's just a game. I really don't care anymore. This game is so power crept, and nowadays it's fine.
It's not it's not the most difficult thing in the world. Okay, and also that's coming in the second release or a release down the line. It's not coming with the expansion, so I'm guessing that you can probably earn this as you go on, hopefully from the beginning. Which is because I'd said that, and now that's a thing.
That is correct.
There's
literally
something I said.
It is called legendary armor though, so the one thing I hope that even though it is, they say streamlined, I do hope that in some way still feels legendary to get it for them.
Yeah, true.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
Well, we've is there anything else then that we need to talk about, or are we good? Because we're starting to wind down now. Oh no, there is more stuff I need to talk about. There is a very important thing I need to mention, actually. So,
This is your fanboy moment.
oh, this is my fanboy moment, hard. hard fanboy moment. So the other day, when we saw the trailer, I was like, oh, Zoja's in the trailer, man. Like, what the hell? And I put out a tweet and said, so Felicia Day at Felicia's is... I don't know what I wrote there, but anyway,
Zoja is back.
So Felicia Day at Zoja.
And then Felicia Day
Yes,
replied,
please.
"Oh, shut up," and said, "Am I?" ? And then I said, "Are you?" ? And then Guild Wars 2 did the eyes thing, and now we're like, excellent. So it was just a little fanboy moment, mostly because I think Felicia Day is awesome.
Well, it looks like, I mean, just from that interaction, Guild Wars 2's account looks very scared about what you just said. So it looks like Elite Felicia Day wasn't contacted for this, and you just called them out.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Like if that would have been really awkward.
This was the interaction for Felicia Day and ArenaNet to start communication, being like, "Why didn't you call me back for this?"
They're like
We
really
wrote
late
you
on
in.
the
You
voice
have dialogue,
line.
but there's no voice for it yet. We gotta get you to the
we
studio.
still got August 22nd.
Come on, we got 2 months.
That would be an amazing way to find out your job.
Record it on your voice notes. Send it over via MP3.
Or if they'd replace them and just be like, be finding out like, oh, I didn't get the call for that.
But yeah, I'm very
Zoja's
excited
back.
to see Zoja.
And the reason why she's been gone so long is because she's still recovering from laryngitis, and that's why she's back.
But like she was supposed to be in the video, but she was in Miami, and she got the call, and she knew about the Mean Girl stuff, but she really wanted to get a flight back to LA to be in the video, but she just couldn't.
This.
Oh,
think I've seen this
okay.
meme.
Plot twist, I'm Zoja now. Yes, I can do that. That's something I can absolutely do. I love that.
I'd pay money for that.
I could do a high pitched voice. Wait, where is it?
Oh no, please don't.
Amazing. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with that.
There's a lot of things wrong with that.
The
voice. Have you heard the voice? She really is that girl.
What? Like, we've actually covered everything I wanted to pretty much do. We can talk about more next week. Basically, that's it. Everyone, I think the only other thing there was something where I was thinking about Cataclysm, and we talked about that with the new maps and the new story. I think overall, we are bloody excited about what's to come for Guild Wars 2 and its expansion, which is, in less than 2 months, which is ridiculous to think about. Something we
remember last episode. You're like, when are they going to start promoting this thing?
I've only just put that episode out as well on like audio wise. I put it out today because I was like, I haven't put that episode out, so I'm gonna put that out, and then on the weekend I'm just gonna put the other one out. Just gonna be like, yeah, cool. It's gonna teach me for delaying it, but you know. Didn't expect that to happen. Maybe they just brought it up because of the podcast. That's what I'm gonna say.
Oh sure, yeah, that's definitely it. Yeah. They like listen to the podcast and we're like, oh, I guess we should do that now.
Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, a lot. Also, just to say, and a lot of this stuff may be obvious, but we have predicted a lot of this stuff. Oh, we really have.
I technically predicted the Wizard's Tower in my video about Expansion 4 like a year ago.
There you go.
Technically,
we did the weapons thing.
The trick is that we all play this game. We all know this game pretty dang well. But the trick is you throw enough darts to the dartboard, eventually you're going to hit the target.
Eventually the dartboard is going to no longer exist and be eviscerated.
Hey, it's a selling point. It's a promotion for the stream. I tweeted that. I was like, Lightbringers are amazing, and we already predicted all of this stuff, right? Great.
Y'all go to YouTube right now, type in Kroof Expansion 4, and it's like Expansion 4 has Mytrin and the Wizard's Tower in the thumbnail. Point blank, period.
Oh wait, Expansion 4?
Well,
now I didn't think that the Wizard's Tower was going to be a part of the story. I was just doing like a fun little video. I thought it was going to be like maybe like a hub for strike missions or raids.
I just put it in and it's not there.
But technically, wow, not YouTube search. The algorithm.
Kroof Expansion 4. Should I put Guild Wars 2?
Probably.
I mean, it's just got your stuff there anyway. New expansion details, expansion no. Oh, expansion 4. Oh yeah, there it is. It's 1 year ago. Boom!
See?
And you used to have long hair. I forgot about that.
I'm big brain. I'm mega brain.
Someone says I was right with my Guild Wars 2 in space because they're space adjacent. They're very close. They're very close to space. Apparently.
There you go. It's right there. Expansion 4.
Yeah.
The
Wizards
Tower.
right in the thumbnail, baby.
Good stuff. Excellent. Good job. Okay.
I'm sad. I didn't get the Lagos. It's sad. It's sad. I wanted Lagos. Maybe next time.
I mean, there might still be there. You never know.
Sky Lagos. Yes, we predicted it here first. Sky Lagos.
Yeah, this
you were
is
right
wild
about the Fractal being Abaddon adjacent.
Ah, yeah, it was actually the guy I talked about.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right, never mind.
Sorry.
I have not played it out. Did you actually put? You did put the Wizard's Tower in there. Feature, strike mission, and raid.
I thought it'd be like a.
Yeah,
it could be like a multi-room. I got it wrong on the story part, but I thought
the truth is,
an interesting hub.
You're very right. You're wrong about the raid, but you're very close because there's 2 strike missions in the Wizard's Tower.
Hey.
A very good point. Yeah.
Actually, Boots, I think your buddy WP called it about 6 weeks ago as well on one of his videos.
Probably.
Yeah.
Okay. It's possible. He says
he's just
he is a bit of the law goat, isn't he? It's a bit.
Yeah.
He's a goat as well. He's not a goat. I've met him in person.
Greatest of all time, law
we can't keep cycling you into these like.
The goats.
We'll try our best here. Try our best.
Okay.
The goat.
All right.
Oh, Ukron's right, and I featured this Skyscale in the video. Wow.
Wait, what?
Y'all, at this point, ArenaNet is gonna send me a cease and desist because I'm just, I am clairvoyant.
Oh my god. Oh yeah. I just got that. Sorry. Okay, so we are done. No, we were talking about the Skyscale because the Skyscale, you're gonna be able to earn the Skyscale in the expansion, which is the Witch's Tower. The Wizard's Tower.
Yep. You don't have to go to grind all those mats from season 4 any longer, which is quite painful.
Because that is a pain in the royal buttocks. Okay,
Yeah.
we're pretty much done, everyone, because Boots needs to eat.
Yeah.
And Phonax needs to sleep.
Oh yeah, but
my bladder's
sleep. What are
gonna
you talking about? You were
explode.
up literally when I was almost going to bed editing. You're fine.
20 past midnight.
I know. I'm just messing with you. Everyone, thanks so much for joining us on the podcast today, morning, noon, or night. The Lightbringers here has been here on a Friday, 1 p.m. Pacific or 8 p.m. GMT. If you want to come and watch us weekly on the show, hopefully, maybe we'll be on. If we're not, then it'll be fine. I'll tell you. But come and join us. Also, thank you to Really Geek for doing the readings of the blog post. Well, technically it's in the past of the blog post as well. Muchly appreciated. Also, why does it do that every single time? It just randomly pauses whenever I do my outro for music. Anyway, it's been great to have you here. Make sure you check out the description below where you can find everyone's affiliate links for the expansion if you do want to purchase it via their thingamajig, because it will support them, supports what they do as well. So muchly appreciate. Make sure you do that. I'll find a creator that you enjoy that has that link. Boots, tell us, what do you do? Where you do it?
Hi, I'm Boots. You can find me on World of Vendors at YouTube, and I make videos, and I come here and talk about Guild Wars 2.
Yay. Awesome. Sorry. Kroof, tell us what you do, where you do it.
I do everything Boots does, but over on my channel at Kroof.
Do you do adventures though?
But I do it better. I'm just kidding.
Oh, the band.
I don't specialize in adventures. I am not an adventure master.
You're an
like Boots.
adventure specialist, Boots. You got the hat and everything.
Really?
You like Indiana Jones.
I am a different thing all the time.
Okay, cool. Fornax, what do you do and where do you do it? Please, thank you.
I'm Fornax, the Crown Herald. I make Guild Wars 2 content over on YouTube, occasionally stream here. I'm planning to do some more of that. Please check out my videos. If you don't know anything about the expansion and you've just come into the end of this, go over. I've got a video that covers it start to finish, everything you need to know. And if you don't know anything about the lore of the Wizard's Tower, across the 18 years of the game, I've just put out a lore video that tells you everything there is. No spoilers if you want to go into the expansion, and I hope you enjoy. And please support my beautiful friends here. And if you're thinking about getting the expansion, please do support at least one content creator. It helps enormously, but costs you not a brass farthing. So it's win-win. Okay,
That's
thank
right.
you.
Lovely. Thank you everyone so much. I'm just looking for someone to raid maybe. We'll do that afterwards. We're doing the outro. Goodbye. Thank you for check out all the stuff I do. Twitch.tv/JebroUnity, YouTube.com/JebroUnity as well. Anchor.fm/Jebro, Spotify, Google, all the places. You can just Google the Lightbringers Guild Wars 2 podcast and you'll be able to find it. You can just go. You'll be able to find all the things. Thanks so much for watching. We'll be back next week where we might play the Fractal because that's what it was meant to do today, and they selfishly brought out the blog post. Awful. But this is the kind of podcast we want. We hope we get more information over the coming weeks because we've only got wait week countdowns.
We've got 52 days.
I don't know if we need that much more information. I think we pretty much have it all from there.
Yeah.
Is it something like 50 something?
We've got
52 or
7.5
days.
weeks.
Yeah, I'll be
That's
gone for
pretty
3 of
rad.
those. So
You'll time jump. You'll time jump, come back, and you'll have even less to wait.
Exactly. There you go.
Yeah, you'll be excited and all the fun things. Lovely. All right, peeps. We'll see you soon. Thanks so much for watching the Guild Wars 2 Lightbringers podcast. Do all the things. See you soon. Enjoy life. Bye for now.
here.
Happy end of Pride as well, peeps. Have a good one. See you
I'm going
soon.
straight for the rest of the year.
Okay, good. I don't know. No, do your things. Do crimes.